One Piece: The Legend of Creation, Chapter 1-20. 1001 Name Discrimination. Failed again. Does this society have name discrimination in addition to racism and sexism? A young man with black hair and black eyes in his early 20s, a handsome face and ragged clothes in a suit, he was walking aimlessly on the street holding a bottle of mineral water, and at the same time, he could not forget to make a grumbling sound full of resentment. Don't underestimate him just because he doesn't dress well. Although this young man doesn't dress well, he was successfully admitted to Peking University as an orphan and even completed the course ahead of schedule. Now he is going out to work. He said that although 2011 is full of talented people, it is very difficult to find a job, but it is not difficult to find a job with his education. It's a pity that he changed his name and he was very unlucky. Every time he went for an interview, the first sentence of his self-introduction was that I was Lu Meng, and maybe God was also unhappy with his name. Every time he went to see him. When I went to interview for a job, there was a person with a similar educational background to him, but he failed the interview every time. It is not the first time that his friends have asked him to change his name, but Lu Meng has not changed it for one reason. He is an orphan, and this name was given to him by his parents when he became sensible in the orphanage. So no matter how bad the name was, he didn't give up. In his words, the name was given by his parents, and it was the only thing left for him. If he even lost the name, then he was really a complete the bottom orphan. It's also because of him and his unfortunate luck that he has interviewed for more than 10 jobs for more than a year, and without exception, all of them have failed. Today is 101, and the economic pressure has made him survive by part-time work and study. Lu Meng finally couldn't help but let out a loud roar. Damn, don't tell me, God, you really can't get along with me, you won't make me feel better if I don't change my name. Lu Meng stood on the street and roared for a few minutes, completely ignoring the pointing of the people around him. After that, the resentment, anger, and resentment in my heart also decreased a lot, and I immediately walked back to my own nest. What kind of fruit is this? How is it so cooked? It took him 10 minutes to return to the downstairs when he was about to go upstairs. A unique fruit attracted him, who was in a very bad mood. However, this fruit seemed to have the infinite charm generally attracted Lu Meng's spirit when he noticed it, and his body seemed to have lost control and walked over involuntarily. I'm dizzy, this is not the Thief King I watched yesterday. Yes, is it the devil fruit in One Piece, King of Pirates? Why is it so similar? When did China's technology become so advanced? Even the devil fruit has been researched already. Lu Meng walked up to the fruit that was almost identical to the devil fruit and couldn't help but pick it up and look at it carefully. The owner of the fruit shop appeared at the right time, and patted Lu Meng on the shoulder like an old friend for many years. A moment. Lu Meng is in his 20s, how can he still like these fruits like a teenage kid? The owner of the fruit shop said softly. What do you mean? At this moment, most of Lu Meng's attention was concentrated in front of this fruit, and the operation of his brain was several hundred times slower than usual. I really doubt whether your kid came from Peking University. You are usually so smart, how can you be stupid at this time? Young people nowadays like to watch anime, so people who study fruits are trained based on an anime called Wong Lai. This kind of fruit is a few % more expensive than the usual ones, but after I got these fruits back, my business has really improved a lot. You see, I took dozens of them and sold them out within a few hours. Come on, this is the last one, forget it, treat it as a gift for you, I'm in a good mood today. The owner of the fruit shop looked at Lu Meng with contempt, and said jokingly, just when he was about to say something, someone in the fruit shop called him, so he could only say a few words and he saw that Lu Meng was interviewing again. He failed and was in a bad mood. He was honest, but he gave this fruit to Lu Meng. He also saw that Lu Meng was very interested in these things. Although it was not something valuable, he was polite and affectionate. Thank you. Lu Meng, who had regained his senses, immediately understood what was going on, looked at the owner of the fruit shop with grateful eyes, and returned to his nest with the fruit. Hey, this should be the paramesha fruit. I don't know how it tastes. It's not really going to be displayed, or it's worse than shit, like it said in One Piece, King of Pirates. Back in the nest, Lu Meng couldn't wait to turn on the computer immediately, and after a while, he found the name of the fruit. He was in a bad mood, and he didn't know why he felt better after seeing this fruit. He even seemed to be very rational. Ah, it's killing people. Such unpalatable fruits are actually sold and sold out. Lao Zhang's fruit shop won't be smashed tomorrow. Lu Meng couldn't wait to bite. One mouthful, when he was about to swallow, an indescribable taste immediately spread to his palate. No matter how strong his endurance was, he would not give up to interview for so many jobs for one name, but after eating this he couldn't help but vomit when he ate the fruit. It's a pity that he was very impatient and found a very good thing, that is, he had swallowed it in his stomach, and no matter how much he vomited, he couldn't spit out anything. Just when he burst into tears and was about to stand up and rush downstairs to find Lao Zhang to settle accounts, a deafening voice rang in his ears. The sound was so loud that it almost shattered his soul. "You bastard, you actually eat the good things you made. You bastard, don't you like it very much? Think of it as a devil fruit, right? If you like YY, I will let you experience it yourself." Outside, it can spread all over 100 miles, but the strange thing is that this sound seems to sound from Lu Meng's soul, and no one except him hears it. Just when he wondered if he had seen a ghost, he discovered one thing in horror, that is, his body was out of control, and every part of his body seemed to be fixed except for the brain that could think. HMPH, my food is so delicious, I let you eat it. This is my punishment for you. If you like YY so much, I will turn your body into a child and throw you into One Piece, King of Pirates. The owner of this voice seemed to be very angry. Maybe the fruit that Lu Meng ate was a treasure to him. As soon as the voice fell, he only felt that his body was shrinking, and it suddenly became a child of about 4 years old. At the same time, the space where Lu Meng was distorted into a black hole without a trace of light. The infinite gravity sucked him in without giving him time to react, and then the black hole disappeared quickly. If it wasn't for Lu Meng's people who were gone, maybe all this was an illusion. HMPH, this is the devil's spirit. I used the blood and soul of many kinds of demons and beasts to refine it. I originally planned to find someone to test the effect, but I didn't expect it to be cheap for you. It is also a kind of fate, whether it is a blessing or a curse depends on your good fortune. After spitting out this incomprehensible sentence, this voice seemed to have left and didn't speak again. 2002 crossed. Huh, what's the matter? Is it really a ghost? There is an ordinary but prosperous town on a small island near Sabayati Archipelago in the world of One Piece, King of Pirates, and surrounding this town the edge of the beach is the forest and the beach. Today, this beach, which is rarely visited by people, has ushered in an uninvited guest today. I want it. A black-haired, black-eyed child who looked at most 4 years old was sitting on the beach looking at his hands and feet in horror and disbelief. I'm really getting smaller. Does that voice really exist? I'm not dreaming, so if all this is true, didn't I leave the earth and come to this world with anime, One Piece, King of Pirates the world? People will experience various changes in the face of many emergencies. Some people will be extremely irritable and fearful and even do many terrible things, but some people will be calm and terrible, and will analyze their own in all cases. Lu Meng is such a person. If all this is true, I am in the world of One Piece, King of Pirates, then I am not very dangerous. This world is not bound by the so-called legal morality. No, now the most important thing is to determine what is here. It is not in the world of One Piece, King of Pirates, that I can make a choice for the future. Lu Meng is indeed Lu Meng. He has been self-reliant since he was a child and raised himself. Even when faced with this situation, he did not lose his mind. Instead, calmly analyze what you should do. This is a footprint. It seems that the owner of this footprint should have left for a while. If you follow it, there may be unexpected gains. Jun Tianchi, who was seriously lacking in information and desperately wanted to know where he was, immediately follow the direction of the footprints and drive the body that has become smaller to run. In the process of running, Lu Meng did not stop the operation of his brain, and all kinds of thoughts and assumptions kept appearing in his mind. What if he really came to the world of One Piece, King of Pirates? Are you trying to hide here to be a mermaid, or go out to sea to be a pirate, or be a marine? Novel Network. 3 different ideas kept spinning in his mind, and he couldn't decide for a while. After all, there was a beast lurking in every man's heart, or an ambition lurking, but on Earth because of congenital conditions and the constraints of laws and morality can only lurking in the depths of my heart. But in this world where the strong eat the weak and the fittest survive, the strong can sit on the rivers and mountains, lie drunk on the knees of beautiful women, and wake up to hold the murderer's sword. As soon as the idea appeared, the ambition in Lu Meng's heart followed. It's strange, the owner of that voice said rightly that I've changed back to 4 years old. Although I have been exercising for so many years, my current 4-year-old body has been running for so long, so how can I breathe so smoothly? So powerful. Just when Lu Meng didn't know what to choose, he suddenly discovered something he had been neglecting just now. Starting from the beach, he now ran more or less for about 10 minutes, and the speed was still at the speed of his long-distance running before, but the now 4-year-old's body actually ran for so long without blushing or panting. This change immediately made his face full of ecstasy. Is this the plug-in opened by the protagonist in the time travel novel? Some have powerful souls, some are powerful, and some have summoners. My physical potential has been greatly improved, according to my current physical function. At least I'm stronger than when I was in my 20s. Fortunately, at least I'm slightly better than others, and if I exercise a little bit, at least I can protect myself a little bit. Although Lu Meng has not yet confirmed that this is the world of One Piece, King of Pirates, he has basically believed and accepted this fact in his heart. When watching anime in the past, don't watch the anime world so bloody, but this world is very cruel. It's hard to meet some perverted pirates, but he's dead without a corpse. Now he finds that his body is so much stronger. Although he is just like an ant compared to people in this world, this has already made Lu Meng very happy. 2 hours later, Lu Meng followed the directions of the footprints and finally found the human town. He was basically sure how strong his body was. If he compared his previous body, his body was at least stronger than before. 30%, but the 2-hour-long run still left him flushed and out of breath. If it wasn't for a thought in his heart, he might have sat down and rested. This is really the world of pirates, what should I do? Lu Meng, who was very calm just now, fell into a sluggishness when he walked into this town, because he saw some marines patrolling here. Those costumes in One Piece, the world of King of Pirates is exactly the same, and the bars, guns, etc. are the same. These things clearly tell him that this is the world of One Piece, King of Pirates. Chang Kong, what are you doing standing there stupidly? Come here quickly. Just when Lu Meng was helpless and didn't know what to do, a voice that sounded immature, but very pleasant came into Lu Meng's ear and brought him his mind pulled back, and he subconsciously looked at the source of the sound. The target was a blonde loli who was not much older than himself. The facial features were extremely delicate, and the combination was like a beautiful and lovely Barbie doll, but what surprised Lu Meng most was that this little boy who looked only 6 years old at most. The girl actually has a hint of coquettishness that does not match her age, and when she grows up, she is obviously a beauty who turns all living beings upside down. Hey, aren't you really stupid? Going out to catch fish and catch stupid. I just came back now, don't you know people are worried about you? Just as Lu Meng was wondering if this blonde loli was calling him at that time, the blonde loli in front of her ran to her on the cat's footsteps and took the initiative to take her hand and led her to a small house in the distance that looked dilapidated. She taught Lu Meng a lesson, but still in his eyes, there is unconcealed love and concern. Facing this kind of purest concern without a trace of impurities, Lu Meng, who came to this strange world, was surprisingly warm in his heart, as if someone who was hurt in his heart was helping him when he needed help and care the most. Zisho cares and helps him unconditionally, which is the case with Lu Meng now. I'm Zongkong, are you calling me? My name is Lu Meng. Lu Meng's heart warmed. Although he was admitted to a famous university on Earth, many people despised him because of his orphan status and poor economic conditions. The only people who can be friends with him are people who are in a similar situation to him, and the loli in front of him looked at him with the eyes of a sister looking at his brother. This situation made Lu Meng, who had no parents and no mother in his previous life, enjoy it very much. I didn't break free from little loli's hand, but I still ask the doubts in my heart. Rogue, you don't really catch fish and fools, do you? You forgot who you are, ah. Don't you even forget your elder sister? Don't scare me, you are your elder sister's last relative in this world. Now, if you have any problems, how can you call your sister to live? The blonde loli suddenly looked flustered and scared, and asked in a tense and trembling voice. 3003 Sister Khalifa. Me, facing the blonde loli's worried eyes and the worry and panic on her face, Lu Meng couldn't help but feel a sense of satisfaction in his heart. For the first time in his heart, he thought that maybe it was a good thing that he came to this world, at least in his previous life. I have no father and no mother and no one really cares about me, but this world of One Piece, King of Pirates, has a little loli who is full of love for herself. What are you? Did you hit your head and lose your memory? Tell sister what's wrong with you now. The blonde loli was nervous and didn't notice that the person in front of her was not her brother at all, neither soul nor body, but Lu Meng from Earth. I don't know. When I woke up, it was already on the beach. I only knew that my name was Lu Meng. It was this Lu Hameng, not that hooligan. Facing the blonde loli's watery and clear eyes, Lu Meng found he actually couldn't bear to lie to her, but when he saw how upset she was at the moment, he couldn't open his mouth to say that I'm not your brother, and your brother might be dead, so he could only say this in a compromise. What Lu Meng, I'm your sister Khalifa, your name is Lu Chengkong, we both grew up with each other since we were young, how could you leave your sister behind? Hearing this, the blonde loli couldn't help screaming. Pretty his face was pale, giving people a kind of pitiful feeling, and people couldn't help but feel compassion and caring at first glance, and our brother Lu Meng was no exception. Lu Chengkong, although the pinyin is Lu, but the surname is different. Wait, Khalifa. This name is so familiar. Blonde, is it Khalifa from CP9? Yes, I will say why this loli looks familiar. It turns out that she was Khalifa of CP9 when she grew up. Lu Meng nodded suddenly, and Khalifa, who had been staring at him closely, thought that his words evoked his memory, and immediately chirped with excitement. I said all my own past. I hope Lu Meng can remember it. After a while, when Khalifa said that he couldn't help but drink water, Lu Meng recovered from the sluggishness, and he couldn't calm down for a long time. Like a 9th-level tsunami appeared in his heart. Khalifa and Lu Chengkong were originally the children and daughters of a wealthy businessman. They were attacked by pirates because of a shipment by sea. The marine who invited them to see the pirates abandoned Khalifa and others and fled alone. Khalifa's parents is a businessman. I have no power to fight chickens. Facing the invasion of pirates, I can only leave this world with hatred. Fortunately, God may not bear it. Just when Khalifa and Lu Chengkong were about to be captured by pirates and sold. Encountered a shipwreck. When Khalifa woke up, he found that he and Lu Chengkong had come to this town. After that, the little things of living in this town for a year, although these things are just the most common things in the chaotic world of One Piece, King of Pirates, but Lu Meng saw the fear on Khalifa's face when he talked about it. And fear, and the memory of dead parents, there is a feeling of empathy. I was also very unlucky when I was on Earth. The name Lu Meng was left to me by my parents. Although you abandoned me, I didn't give up the only thing you left for me. I don't hate you, I don't have you. I will not come to this world. Maybe this is a turning point for me, since I left the Earth, although the body, blood, soul, etc. have not changed, but some things should be put down. Lu Meng's thoughts became clearer and clearer at the same time. It was originally because of the strangeness in this world that he just came to, and because of Khalifa's concern. Khalifa's words dispelled the last sense of strangeness, and at the same time he accepted that he came here. The facts and everything in the world also made Lu Meng think in terms of people from the world of One Piece, King of Pirates, instead of thinking of people on Earth. When he looked up and saw Khalifa looking at him expectantly, Lu Meng's dark eyes suddenly flashed a gleam. Now I am no longer the Lu Meng on Earth who is struggling to survive for 2 meals a day. I have come to the world of One Piece, King of Pirates. Everything should be changed. Let him pass the past. Some not. It is time to let go of the necessary attachments. Lu Meng has become the past. This may be the so-called fate. Since I came to this world and happened to be regarded as a younger brother by Khalifa, then. Lu Meng flashed countless thoughts in his heart and even made a decision. He opened a pair of piercing eyes and looked at Khalifa's beautiful big eyes, and said in a very serious voice. Although I don't remember everything from the past, but I believe in you. From today onwards, I will be Lu Chengkong, and if I have a sister, I will be Khalifa. These are not important anymore. As long as you're fine, you'll be fine. Hearing Lu Meng, no, it's Lu Chengkong now. Khalifa's face was gloomy when he heard Lu Chengkong's words in front, but the words came out later after that. Khalifa's face suddenly changed with a 360-degree change, and he said happily. Where do you go in the future? My sister must follow you. Good luck this time. You can come back. Who knows what will happen next time? Come on, you have been gone for a day. You should be hungry. I have already cooked. Let's eat first. After Khalifa finished speaking, he didn't give Lu Chengkong a chance to say anything else and immediately ran to the side holding a bowl of porridge. The hope of only a dozen meters is really crystal clear. Does she eat these every day? Lu Chengkong looked at Khalifa in disbelief. The thin figure clearly told Lu Chengkong that what he had in mind was right. Although he was an orphan when he was on Earth, but it wasn't so miserable, but now a 6-year-old girl actually eats these every day, and she still ate it for more than a year. For a time, Lu Chengkong's heart was filled with anger that was enough to burn the sea. Pirate, Marine, Lu Chengkong thought through gritted teeth in his heart. When he said that he was Lu Chengkong just now, he already regarded Khalifa as his sister, but now seeing Khalifa's appearance, he thought that all this was because of the pirates and Marine. Lu Chengkong actually had a huge resentment against them in his heart, and wished he would immediately turn into a Superman wearing underwear and kill them all. Pirates are hateful, and Marine is even more hateful. This world is so cruel. You don't want to be trampled on. You need a lot of strength to live a good life. At this time, Lu Chengkong's heart rose a little bit of enlightenment, and at the same time in my heart, I also made the first promise and goal of coming to the world of One Piece, King of Pirates, that is, to make Khalifa live a good life. 4004 Sisters and Brothers Concentric. Eat it quickly, it won't taste good when it's cold. Khalifa looked at Lu Chengkong, whose eyes were dull, and thought he was thinking about what he just told him, so he pushed him back to his senses. What about yours? Lu Chengkong immediately put away these thoughts when he heard Khalifa's words, and then subconsciously asked Khalifa with the porridge in his hand. Ah, I ate it a long time ago, and I ate it before you came back. Khalifa tried to calm her tone, but Lu Chengkong still caught the panic that flashed in her eyes. Although I don't know how you treated me before, but I can be sure that you are definitely the best older sister from your performance just now. How can you still eat with peace of mind when your brother is gone? The explanation is that you haven't eaten at all. You don't have to do that. Since I'm your younger brother now, we should share weal and woe and eat together. After crossing over, Lu Chengkong was not only stronger than before, but his 5 senses were also much sharper. In addition, Khalifa's lies were so flawed, how could he be able to hide from Lu Chengkong? He immediately understood and drank half of the porridge, then handed it to Khalifa. Yeah, Khalifa's eyes were red and tears were falling. He felt that his younger brother had changed and grown up. Although he lost his memory, he was no longer the younger brother who used to be willful and always concerned about him. He learned to care. Although it is just porridge, not some delicacies from the mountains and seas, but Khalifa's mouth is more delicious than anything. Sister, after so many things, I understand a lot. This world is a world where the strong are respected. I may have been stupid before, but now I will not be like this anymore. I will let you live the best life, eat the most good food, wear the best clothes, live in the best house. After eating, Lu Chengkong immediately spoke out his thoughts, which made Khalifa on the side very relieved and happy, and even had a feeling of being able to rely on his heart, and he no longer had to support himself like before. She had a person who can shelter her from the wind and rain. And all of this is based on strong strength. If we want to change, we must become stronger. I don't want you to live like this anymore. I want everyone to bow their heads in the face of you. Looking at you. Tomorrow we will move to the beach, okay? Lu Chengkong said eloquently, and after he finished speaking, he did not forget to ask Khalifa's opinion. My sky has grown up, and now I have learned to care about my sister. If you have this idea, my sister will of course support you. Khalifa agreed without thinking, and even immediately packed up the little things. Don't worry, elder sister, since I have recognized you as my elder sister, then I will fulfill my duty as a younger brother. Lu Chengkong clenched his fists and thought firmly in his heart, but at this time Lu Chengkong simply did not. I don't know that in the future he will not only fulfill the duty of a good brother, but also the duty of a good husband. The next day, Lu Chengkong and Khalifa picked up a few old clothes with several patches as they said yesterday, and went to the beach according to yesterday's memory. Lu Chengkong, who has good self-care ability, took over the task of building the house without a word, because he didn't want people to know where the two of them lived, so Lu Chengkong found an ideal location after searching for a long time. Trees and hills are not so easy to find as natural barriers. Sister, I will start exercising from today. There are many herbs here that are very helpful for injuries, so there is no need to be afraid of injuries, and there are also many deep in the forest about 1 kilometer from here. Beasts, as long as we become stronger, we can hunt them down to help our family, but now we can only eat some fish and the little rabbits and puppies nearby. Quote. Lu Chengkong never thought of letting Khalifa follow him to practice. He didn't care what the original book was, but since he came here, he would never allow Khalifa to suffer. As long as he hadn't fallen, he wouldn't allow this to happen. No, I want to practice with you. How can there be a younger brother to protect my elder sister? It should be my elder sister to protect my younger brother. Don't underestimate me, I have been exercising since I was a child. Khalifa shook his head, holding on. Said the little chest that didn't have it. But, Lu Chengkong, who was about to blurt out the rejection, immediately swallowed the words that came to his mouth after seeing Khalifa's stubborn eyes. At the same time, Khalifa's performance and character in the original book emerged in his mind, some narcissism and self-esteem. Strong, and a little idiot. I used to use 3 blue wave balls and used Chopper to go berserk as Nami. Okay, let's become stronger together. In the end, Lu Chengkong gave in, mainly because Khalifa's self-esteem is very strong, and Khalifa can become the only woman in CP9 history. Her qualifications are absolutely nothing to say, although she is the weakest one in CP9, but it does not mean that her aptitude is poor. What she lacks is just a motivation to become stronger. Moreover, Lu Chengkong also knew that Khalifa's younger brother did not appear in the original book, so now that he is here, he is definitely dead, so Khalifa hates pirates, and cultivates to kill pirates. There is nothing else. The motivation to become stronger, but now in Khalifa's heart, his younger brother is not dead. In order to protect his younger brother, Lu Chengkong has a hunch that Khalifa's achievements are definitely not comparable to the original work. Luffy and the others can burst out extremely powerful potential to protect a person, so Khalifa is the same, but now Khalifa has someone to protect. The motivation to become stronger is not the one in the original book who only knows how to kill pirates and get the design of Hades. She can compare. Yeah, Khalifa nodded happily, not only happy for Lu Chengkong's growth, but also happy to be able to practice with Lu Chengkong, mainly because Lu Chengkong's previous amnesia made her dare not let Lu Chengkong leave her. Within sight, this may be a different kind of protection and love from a sister to her brother. With the motivation and determination to become stronger, and Lu Chengkong has modern knowledge, although he did not study biology when he was on Earth, he can be said to have read a lot of books when he lived in Peking University, and he has knowledge in all aspects. I understand, and in addition to having seen the cultivation of some people in One Piece, King of Pirates in his original book, he has already initially set up the cultivation plan and steps. Running 10 kilometers in the morning, resting for 10 minutes, doing 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, then 50 pull-ups and repeating until lunch and lunch break, and swimming in the afternoon. Of course, all of this is just preliminary training, although for the people of Earth, this kind of exercise is basically inhuman exercise if it is maintained every day, but for the strong people in the world of One Piece, King of Pirates, which is full of superhumans, it can only be said to be slightly stronger than ordinary people. 5052 years. Roar. The roar that was full of domineering all his life suddenly came from the mountain forest. As the saying goes, the wind comes from the tiger and the cloud comes from the dragon, and there is a sudden gust of wind in the forest. You don't need to know that this roar is definitely from the tiger, the king of the forest. As expected, a man dressed in animal skins, with long hair fluttering, and thin stripes on his facial features and face looked childish, but those piercing eyes with mature eyes that did not match his age told everyone absolutely. I can't look at the 6-year-old child in front of me with ordinary eyes. It's been 2 years, and I've been increasing my training for the past 2 years, hoping to see how far my body is, but I didn't expect my body to be like a bottomless pit. No matter how much I dig, it's bottomless. Those things in YYY's novels are not exaggerated. That's right, this child who is only about 1.3 meters is exactly Liu Chenggong, who has traveled from the earth and is now Khalifa's younger brother. After 2 years of training, and with sufficient nutritional support, Liu Chenggong's development can be called a metamorphosis. At the age of 6, he is already 1.3 meters tall and almost 1.4 meters tall. In addition, because of his long-term practice in the sun, his skin is a healthy wheat color. If it develops at this speed, it is not far from the bronze color. The most surprising thing is that Liu Chenggong's body muscles at this time are simply the most perfect going proportions. They are not as bloated as Western muscle men, but instead give people a streamlined figure that is light and elegant, but does not lose strong explosive power and speed. I believe even if Bruce Lee was resurrected, he would feel ashamed when he saw Liu Chenggong's body that he had trained at the age of 6. Roar. Liu Chenggong was thinking about his own business and did not attack, but the tiger, the king of the forest, had a strong sense of territory. Liu Chenggong entering his territory without his consent was tantamount to contempt for his majesty. How can the tiger not be angry? Now, seeing that Liu Chenggong completely ignored himself and didn't take himself seriously, he had an IQ that was a little higher than that of a tiger on Earth, and he immediately exploded. I want it. A deafening roar resounded through the mountains and forests, but what followed was his body turning into a gale and rushing towards Liu Chenggong like a tiger descending the mountain. HMPH, I originally wanted you to live a few more seconds. Since you want to die so much, then I will fulfill you. Liu Chenggong, who was still thinking about his own affairs a moment ago, was like a lurking animal in the next second. Like a terrifying beast, his muscles suddenly tensed. Facing the huge momentum and terrifying body of the tiger, Liu Chenggong stomped on the ground with his right foot, and his body shot out like a sharp arrow that had been off the string. Do not retreat but advance. In the face of the enemy, whether it is strong or weak, you must despise the enemy in strategy and pay attention to the enemy's tactics. If you don't make a move, it will be like thunder and lightning, unstoppable. This sentence is in Liu Chenggong's 2 years of crazy training, and it seems simple and easy to understand, but there are a few people who can really do it. Give me a blast. Liu Chenggong shouted. The rationality in his eyes that belonged to humans disappeared in an instant, and was replaced by a kind of madness that only wild beasts have. Concentrating on his right fist, he slammed into the tiger in front of him. Bang! Without the guidance of a famous teacher, he could only absorb useful knowledge from the opponent and improve his combat skills in the constant fighting with the beasts. 2 years of frantic fighting had made Liu Chenggong understand that he must be ruthless in battle, not to fight. But to the enemy, to be even more cruel to yourself, forgetting pain, forgetting life and death, only then can you explode your combat effectiveness to the limit. Just a punch. Liu Chenggong's fist actually made a loud sonic boom in midair. With the perfect combination of speed and strength, the tiger that rushed in front of him only felt a blur before his eyes, and he didn't even have time to figure out what was going on. At that time, he only felt a pain in his head, and a huge force spread from his forehead to his whole body, knocking him out with a bang. In terms of overall combat effectiveness, I and this long-toothed tiger are just on par, but beasts are beasts after all. How can you defeat me, who has mastered all the advantages and disadvantages of beasts' battles? Lu Chengkong thought with disdain, but at the same time his body did not stop. His feet stepped on the ground several times in a row. A huge rebound force made Lu Chengkong's body shoot like a bullet to Chengfeng in an instant. In front of the tiger. "It's over, go to hell," Lu Chengkong shouted. A look of enjoyment suddenly appeared on his face. Obviously Lu Chengkong had already experienced the thrill of battle, the beauty of battle. He is no longer for his own fighting for life, but fighting for enjoyment. The right foot pulled a sharp track in the air like a long whip, and kicked it fiercely on the head of the long-toothed tiger. Click. A crisp sound of broken bones suddenly sounded from the head of the long-toothed tiger, and the eyes that were still full of killing intent and madness suddenly lost their vigor, and the arrogant head fell weakly to the ground. Hoo-hoo, it's really not for human use. No wonder the people who learned Rokushiki in Blueno are superhuman beings. I saw in the anime that Luffy was easily brought down and thought it was very simple. The principle of shaving is the simplest, but I can only step on the ground 3 times in an instant, and the 4th one can't be done with my current body, and I can only use it once. Hey, there is still a long way to go. Quote. At the moment when Lu Chengkong killed the long-toothed tiger, he sat down on the long-toothed tiger as if he had been exhausted. His whole body twitched and trembled, especially Lu Chengkong's legs. Nothing. In the past 2 years, Lu Chengkong has not been trying to find a way to use his body's combat power. However, he can only rely on his own exploration. Even if he is a fighting genius, he can't improve in a short time. Reminds me of Rokushiki in One Piece, King of Pirates. Each style has powerful abilities, speed, defense, strength, and explosive power are all gathered in it. It's just that he can't practice Rokushiki without a training method, and with his physical strength, even if he knows Rokushiki's training method, he can't succeed in training, and it may even end in death, but the shaved in Rokushiki is the easiest is also the most difficult. The principle is instant explosive power. The method of cultivation is to continuously step on the ground dozens of times, hundreds of times, or even thousands of times. It is easy to learn but difficult to master, and Lu Chengkong has mastered this skill after many trials. But the 2 years of crazy training can only allow him to step on the ground at most 3 times at a time in battle, and if he can't instantly kill the enemy after using it, he will lose his combat effectiveness and become a mermaid. 6006 Peeking at marine training. It's time, go back to have a meal, and then go to steal the teacher. Novel Network. 10 minutes later, Lu Chengkong felt that his body had almost recovered and immediately stood up, carried the long-toothed tiger, and moved towards the house he built at an astonishing speed. Run away. Chengkong, you're back, you're worried about the dead, Isn't this the long-toothed tiger on the other side? You actually killed him, so what is your strength? The moment Lu Chengkong returned home, what caught his eye was Khalifa looked worried. Khalifa said coquettishly after seeing Lu Chengkong's return. At the same time, he looked at Lu Chengkong's body up and down to make sure he was not injured, and he was relieved. After all, in the past 2 years, Lu Chengkong has been fighting beasts in order to improve his strength. She was injured many times, especially the first few times. She almost died, but in the end, when Khalifa planned to commit suicide and went with Lu Chengkong, she found that Lu Chengkong's body was repaired at an astonishing speed. Suicide, but Khalifa reprimanded Lu Chengkong severely afterwards. My shave has improved by 1 step. Now I can take 3 steps on the ground in an instant. With the combination of speed and strength, I caught it off guard and killed it. Lu Chengkong saw Khalifa's surprise and Vivi grew up. The small mouth couldn't help reaching out and gently pinching it on his pretty face. Khalifa in this way is really too cute and cute. Really, Chengkong, you really are the best. You're not as useless as your elder sister. Now you can only take 2 steps, and you can't advance to the third step. Khalifa was first happy for Lu Chengkong, but then, thinking of her own situation, her small face suddenly stepped down, and her pretty face was full of unhappy emotions. How could it be useless? Elder sister, I would not be where I am today without elder sister, and elder sister, you are a genius, I can only use it once, so let's not talk about this, let's have a good meal today and make up for the body. Then I went to steal the teacher. When Lu Chengkong said this, Vivi paused. He knew very well that Khalifa is definitely a genius. She has only been practicing for a long time, and she has already taken 2 steps. Her fighting power is very strong and sturdy. Soft and weak look down on her, she is a ruthless Valkyrie when fighting. And Lu Chengkong also knew that if he hadn't ate the fruit of that mysterious man, his physical potential had become very terrifying, as if some kind of mutation had occurred, he would have been left behind by Khalifa. And Lu Chengkong has seen the battle between Khalifa and Nami in One Piece, King of Pirates. Khalifa's strength is completely overwhelming, but in the end, because he underestimated the enemy, he didn't strike hard at the beginning. Killing led to the final loss. Because this is not the first time that Lu Chengkong has transformed Khalifa for this aspect. The current Khalifa not only fully inherits Lu Chengkong's advantages and true heritage of the lion and the rabbit, but it is even better than the blue. It was the ruthlessness of fighting against the most common beast, Khalifa. Even Lu Chengkong was shocked when he saw it. This effect is entirely due to Lu Chengkong's words. Sister, if you don't completely change your underestimation and narcissism towards the enemy, and instead do your best not to give others a breath of resistance when facing anyone, one day you will lose me. It was precisely because of Lu Chengkong's words that deeply stimulated the forbidden and soft place deep in Khalifa's heart. For her, Lu Chengkong was her taboo, and her inverse scales were absolutely not allowed even if she died. If there is any problem with Lu Chengkong, now hearing Lu Chengkong's words, she may lose her younger brother because of her own mentality. She immediately experienced a 360-degree qualitative change. The ruthlessness in the battle is everyone's heart. Trembling. After 2 years of facing each other, they fought countless times of life and death battles together. Their relationship has long reached a level that cannot be described in words. Even if Lu Chengkong told her that he was not her brother was already. Even if she died, she couldn't leave Lu Chengkong. Because of the 2 years of life, Lu Chengkong is already her younger brother in her heart, and looking at Khalifa's careful performance as a secretary in the original book, how could she not find out that Lu Chengkong is not her brother in 2 years? It's just that she doesn't think about it, and she doesn't need to think about it. In front of her heart, Lu Chengkong is her younger brother, the last motivation and goal of her life in this world. She doesn't want to care about the rest. After dissecting the tiger and having a full meal, Khalifa washed the fur of the tiger and made Lu Chengkong clothes at night. Then the two ran towards the town at a speed of 10 seconds and 100 meters. Don't look at the two. It seems that the speed of the people is not as fast as the people who have the Olympic sprint record. Those people are unable to keep up after 100 meters, but the two of them are running at high speed in the forest like apes, and their breathing is not disturbed. The speed remains the same. Obviously the stamina of both of them is very amazing, and these are all exercised by swimming and long-distance running in the sea. After about half an hour, the two came to a relatively large square in the town. They walked to the edge with ease, and let people sit on the ground and put 2 rice bowls on the ground. Obviously, the two were disguised beggars. But the ears of the two of them stood up quietly, obviously eavesdropping on the voice inside. Logically speaking, Marine's training base is basically kept very secret, but don't forget that this is Sabayati Archipelago. Tenryubito, so basically all the powerful Marines are concentrated on the side of Mariajoy. This is another small island, and there are no secrets, and they never thought that someone would steal it. After all, although it is the era of the great pirates, but for most people, the majesty of the world government marine cannot be violated. There is no one who dares to peek at the cultivation of marine like Lu Chengkong and the other two. Besides, it does not teach any advanced combat skills. It is basically some basic skills. Even if someone steals it, it is nothing. The combination of many reasons has created such a smooth learning for the two of them. Hey, you guys simply ignore that the emergence of any strong person is based on a solid foundation. What I lack most now is the method and basic skills to exercise my body. Thank you, Marine. Lu Chengkong focused his attention. Hearing the voice coming from inside, he thought proudly. 7007 dragons have reverse scales, those who touch will die. Let's go, what we heard today is enough for us to cultivate for a while. Lu Chengkong feels about the same for about 2 hours. If he stays here for too long, he will be suspected. Now the two are still children, plus the disguise. Very good, and there are indeed many small beggars here, so it will not be suspected in a short time, but it is difficult to say for a long time. Yeah, the relationship between Khalifa and Lu Chengkong seems to have undergone a 360-degree change after 2 years of life. Although Lu Chengkong still refers to Khalifa as his sister, when it comes to major decisions, Khalifa has just like an obedient little daughter-in-law, it is completely left to Lu Chengkong to decide. As long as Lu Chengkong decides, she will do it without asking the reason. The relationship between the two has surpassed everything. Right or wrong, the reason is right for her. In other words, it has no effect at all, as long as Lu Chengkong's choice of recognition is the truth in Khalifa's heart. Hey, Lu Chengkong, where did the two of you go? I haven't seen you for a long time, Khalifa, you too, what do you do with this useless kid? If you tell me, I promise you will eat delicious and spicy food. The playboy boy who was a ruffian blocked the way of the two of them. When he looked at Khalifa, he was full of strong possessiveness and wanted to eat Khalifa in one bite. I was in a good mood today, but now I am confused by you. I said that as long as I am not dead, no one is allowed to disrespect Khalifa. You are the first, so I will use your blood to prove it. My words. Lu Chengkong's face sank, his eyes flashed with cold light, the temperature in the air dropped suddenly, and an icy murderous aura emanated from his body. These ruffians who only know how to bully the soft and fear the hard are in Lu Chengkong's life and death fight with beasts for many years. Immediately, his face turned pale, his body trembled, and his lips trembled as if he was about to say something, but he couldn't say anything. Novel Network. I hope you remember one sentence. The dragon who has the reverse scales will die, or you will die again in the next life. After Lu Chengkong finished speaking, his body swayed like a ghost and came between the ruffian and the people who followed him. A roundabout kick, the huge force kicked all the most vulnerable parts of their bodies. Click. 5 crisp and pleasant bone-smashing sounds suddenly sounded, and at the same time, the 5 people fell to the ground. Their bodies trembled, their throats trembled as if they were about to call for help, but no matter how hard they tried, they couldn't say a word, and they left after a while. Out of this world. Fortunately, these people did some shameful things in a place where no one was seen, so no one except Khalifa saw Lu Chengkong violently kill people. Let's go, Lu Chengkong said with an expressionless face, not even looking at the corpse under his feet, as if the person just now was not homicide. He pulled up Khalifa soft and boneless, and strode out of the town with his fleshy little hands. Giggle, Chengkong, you were so handsome just now. Khalifa didn't know what was going on with him today, but seeing Lu Chengkong violently kill people because of the way the other party looked at him and his words, his heart was actually very sweet. She didn't feel unhappy because Lu Chengkong wanted to kill people. Instead, there was a sweet smile on the corner of her mouth, just like a girl who was pregnant with spring. Even when Lu Chengkong held her little hand, she usually felt normal, but today she actually felt that she was in her heart. She was shy, 2 blushing groups flew up, her heart was jumping like a deer, and she couldn't calm down for a long time. Of course, don't even look at who your brother is. Hearing this, the ice cold on Lu Chengkong's face thawed instantly, and he said to Khalifa with a gentle smile on his face. On the way home, the 2 brothers and sisters seemed to have changed back to the most normal siblings. They were chatting and laughing on the way, but when they almost got home, their expressions changed at the same time. Obviously, they both found something abnormal at the same time. From this, it can be seen that the strengths of the two are actually not far from each other, at least in terms of the senses. Shish. The two of them looked at each other and put a finger on their lips at the same time. A smile flashed in their eyes. Sure enough, they were in the same heart. A medium-sized marine ship is in sight of the two of you. After being transformed by an unknown fruit, Lu Chengkong's body is simply a treasure trove with endless potential. Now Lu Chengkong only needs to continuously train and fight as a key to tap. After 2 years of training, Lu Chengkong's 5 senses have improved a lot, not to mention that his eyesight has more than doubled compared to before. Damn! Anger flashed across Lu Chengkong's face. Vivi exuded a cold murderous aura, and Khalifa, who was standing beside him, almost rushed out to kill the people on board. There is only one thing that makes them so hot. Every time, the so-called absolute justice marine actually escorts the children. Almost all of those children are about 6 to 13 years old. Marine turned a blind eye and threw them all into the iron cage, and there was a man in gorgeous clothes pointing fingers at those Marines, and those Marines actually bowed and nodded like a dead dog. This is the paradise of Sabayati Archipelago pirates, bounty hunters, etc., but this is the Marine headquarters. Those Marines do not dare to traffic people even if they are crazy, so they are the only ones who can direct Marine to do these things blatantly. Lu Chengkong's mind was running at a high speed, and he immediately guessed their identities. This is the benefit of the Prophet, so Lu Chengkong quietly told Khalifa his thoughts. Yeah, Khalifa's pretty face turned slightly red, mainly because Lu Chengkong's actions when talking to her were too intimate, almost biting her earlobe, which is a girl's sensitive point, especially when facing her most important thing when she was human, she was even more sensitive than usual. The numbness and itchiness in her ears almost made her cry out, but in the end, it was the concentration she had cultivated over the past 2 years that made her suppress it. What? It's them. The nobles of the world can actually do these things, and Marine actually helps them. Sure enough, they are all filthy guys who actually joined their ranks, bastards, garbage. Khalifa's pretty face was already on his face after hearing it clearly. Several layers of frost formed. You don't have to be angry with these people. If you get angry, your health will be bad. Huh, that's it. Lu Chengkong comforted Khalifa, and when he was about to say something, Vivi's face changed, his eyes widened, as if see what it looks like. Sure enough, it's her. Wait, count the time. She is 4 years older than Khalifa, 6 years older than me, and was taken as a slave by Tenryubito when she was 12 years old. Isn't this the time period? Sure enough, it was her, the future Shichibukai, the emperor of the daughter country, the pirate empress Boa Hancock. Lu Chengkong thought to himself. For support, flowers, rewards, reminders, click. 8008 Amazing decision. What should I do? To save or not to save? She is my favorite person when I watch anime, but now there is a chance for me to save, but although my strength can fight ligers, I can't face it. There are so many Marines and they are not weak, can I do it with a gun? Lu Chengkong couldn't help but have this thought when he confirmed the identity of the person on the opposite side. Forget it, I'd better ask Khalifa. After all, I'm not alone now, I have a sister. Lu Chengkong thought about it, and immediately asked Khalifa beside him. Sister, are we going to save them? I think that's an opportunity to make us stronger, albeit at a huge cost. Huh, save them, but in the face of so many Marines and guns, can we save them? You have to know that you are the most important thing in my sister's heart. As long as you are okay, even if they die, my sister will not have any problems. Comfortable, do we have the strength to save it? What is the opportunity you said to become stronger? Hearing this, Khalifa Vivi was stunned for a moment, and then persuaded, but he did not immediately refuse, but asked Lu Chengkong. Because she knew very well that her brother was definitely not a reckless hero. Since he had this idea, he absolutely had his reasons, so Khalifa didn't immediately refuse to speak up. Tenryubito claims to be descendants of the creator, and is arrogant and domineering, because they regard themselves as great and disdain to breathe the same air as ordinary people. Although they are disgusting, they will never rob them. These kidnapped children are all Tenryubito was sent to the auction house in Sabayati Island to buy it with money. This is a huge amount of money, and it is of great help to the operation of Marine, which is why Marine will help them without any effort, and as far as I know Tenryubito has a lot of hobbies, one of which is collecting a lot of rare treasures to improve his worth and status. Quote. Lu Chengkong thought for a moment, and then based on what he knew in the original book, plus his own analysis, he slowly expressed his own opinion. Marine is definitely not just bringing slaves to Tenryubito in order to get more funds. Although slaves are sold to Tenryubito for several times, or even dozens of times more profit than when they are sold to others, but with the temperament of the world government, these opportunities will never be missed, so there are definitely other goodies on that ship, including devil fruits. Quote. You mean the devil fruit, the secret treasure of the sea? Khalifa, who wanted to reject the devil fruit, took it back when she heard the word, demon fruit. Lu Chengkong understood her temperament, and she also knew Lu Chengkong very well. Since there is a possibility of a devil fruit on the ship and it is still a devil fruit sold to Tenryubito, it will definitely not be bad. And even if there is no devil fruit, there are definitely a lot of rare treasures, and even some things that are helpful for the improvement of strength. After all, he does not believe that the Lord with so much money from Tenryubito will have no one to attack them, if they do not have hidden powerful power. The world government would never let them down, so they would have the power to order admiral, then the only explanation is that these Tenryubitos are just the real core on the bright side. What Tenryubito makes the world government fearful is hidden behind the scenes. Yes, Lu Chengkong nodded. Khalifa used to be the daughter of a merchant, so it wasn't a large business association, but it was still okay to know about devil fruits. But you are not sure that there are devil fruits there. It is very dangerous to become Marine's wanted criminals. Our strength is so weak that we have no resistance to Marine. It would be good if there are devil fruits there, but the problem is fundamental. I can't be sure that there is a devil fruit there. Khalifa calmed down after being surprised, and even analyzed the pros and cons very rationally. Am I going to tell you that devil fruit and the like are one of the targets, and the other hidden target is Hancock? If I say that, you will never let me go. Lu Chengkong thought with a bit of shame, but he didn't lose his mind just to save Hancock. Although she was his favorite character, it didn't mean that he would risk his life for someone who had nothing to do with him. Do you think that we have been staying on this island to fight the beasts, and how can we improve our strength by stealing the basic knowledge of Marine every day? Lu Chengkong asked rhetorically. Khalifa was speechless for a moment. Don't look at how much the two of them have improved their strength in the past 2 years, but compared to those who have special guidance, they are completely different. The two of them can say that what they lack the most is other people's guide. This ship will be our stepping stone on the road to the strong. Sooner or later, we will have to face the Marine of the world government. It is better to fight it once instead of spending a few decades here. Anyway, the worst result is it's just one death. Lu Chengkong said here, a dazzling light erupted in his eyes, a determination to see death as if at home, and to sink the boat into the water appeared in his heart. Sister accompanies you. Yes, the big deal is death. Only in life and death will our strength improve, and only in the face of the pressure of death will we become stronger, so what good plan do you have? Chengkong's lofty aspirations were driven, but she did not lose her mind. Of course there is. Not being afraid of death does not mean that we are going to die, we have to sneak in. The light of wisdom in Lu Chengkong's eyes kept flashing, and he told his plan. The biggest possibility that we were sent to the auction house of Sabayati Archipelago was to be made slaves by Tenryubito. We just wanted to kill all the people in the boat before going to Tenryubito. This is my goal. Lu Chengkong said there was a terrifying murderous intent in the sound. I understand what you mean, then we are going to let them find us now, thinking that we are just wild children, without any resistance, and then take advantage of this period of time to catch them by surprise. Killing them will not only save you, let those children go, and everything on the boat belongs to us. Khalifa's eyes became brighter and brighter, and finally he couldn't help showing joy. Otherwise, you think I want to be their slaves? This is a test for us. In the face of the test between life and death, if even these Marines can't defeat us, we will die. After Lu Chengkong finished speaking he pulled up Khalifa. tender little hands and ran forward, because he had seen someone disembark to catch some children, so it was time for them to catch them. The unstoppable new book needs the support of all loyal brothers, flowers, rewards, reminders, click all to come together. The update remains the same as before, just ask everyone to continue to support. 9009 Ferocious Fangs. Hey, Tony, look, there are 2 wild children here, and they are both good seedlings. If the man's skin is a little paler and grows up, he will definitely be a little white face, and the blonde woman will definitely grow up. Waiting for a beauty, we have made a fortune now, and we never thought that we would meet 3 good seedlings in a row, and this time we will definitely be able to sell for a good price. A bald Marine holding a gun suddenly found 2 children, a boy and a girl, and immediately shouted loudly. Sure enough, after a while, 5 or 6 Marines came to him, and they were equally overjoyed when they saw the appearance of the 2 children. Cheer up. Now we can be promoted and made a fortune. 3 good seedlings, plus the good stuff on the boat. Kid, I advise you to stay still and capture your hands, otherwise I don't care if you take a few bullets. The bald Marine took it. The spear pointed at the 2 children in front of them, and the 2 children also pretended to be frightened and wanted to call. If you dare to scream, I will kill you. The bald Marine spoke with a familiarity. Obviously, he has been abducting children for many years. He is a household name and has rich experience. The wild child in animal skin didn't know the power of the gun and fired a shot at the big tree next to him. Boom! White smoke rose, and a bullet slammed into the tree at a speed that could not be seen by the naked eye. The huge force actually pierced through the tree, leaving a. When the 2 children in front of them saw this situation, they immediately trembled with fright, and their tears were about to flow. No need for wise readers to guess the identities of the 2. Their defense then violently attacked the murderous Lu Chengkong and Khalifa. Although the 2 of them have never acted, but seeing their current performances on Earth, they are definitely Oscar-winning and Queen-level existences. Very good, now you all follow me obediently, or I will kill you. The bald Marine Lu Chengkong and Khalifa were very satisfied with their performance, and then took the lead in walking towards the Marine ship, and the Marines who had just arrived took the gun pointed at Lu Chengkong and the 2 of them, clearly because they were afraid of them escaping. After all, with their years of experience, they could tell at a glance that the 2 children in front of them were sold to Tenryubito, who had perverted hobbies, for a very good price. Performance promotion and making a fortune are just around the corner, such a good thing cannot tolerate them being careless. It's done. Lu Chengkong and Khalifa exchanged glances quietly, the corners of Vivi's mouth twitched up, but on the surface, they followed these Marines with a terrified and helpless look. When they came to the Marine, those Marines who stayed behind saw Lu Chengkong and Khalifa immediately cheered like those Marines who had escorted Lu Chengkong and Khalifa just now. All pairs of eyes turned into Bailey's eyes, which was simply the evolutionary version of countless Nami. Hee, you guys who are blinded by greed, tonight is your death date. Lu Chengkong was still the same as the children in the iron cage on the surface, but he thought sarcastically. The 2 of you, considering that you are our wealth, we will treat you both very favorably. Let the 2 of you stay in a cage, and let me stay in it, or I will kill you. The bald Marine gave his first priority. Tien was very happy to find these 2 good seedlings, so he waved his hand to let Lu Chengkong stay together. Let's go, a good start is half the battle. I'm so lucky today, maybe I can pick up a few when I go out for a walk. The bald Marine greeted a few Marines and immediately charged with a gun excitedly. It's really stupid to go on, this kind of person doesn't even know how he died. Wait, Lu Chengkong thought so in his heart, and at the same time noticed the 3 girls in the cage next to him. One of them was Boa Hancock. At this moment, she looked at herself with curious eyes, and there was a trace in her eyes. Natural color. So sharp eyes, can actually see through my disguise, worthy of being the people of Amazon Lily Island who are all soldiers. No wonder she can become an empress in the future, although the life of a slave has caused a huge shadow in her heart, but why is it not one? This kind of test, you have to endure hardships in order to become a superior person. Lu Chengkong's expression did not change, but he was surprised. At the same time, he also understood that the panic on Boa Hancock's face at this time was definitely fake. How could someone who can come out to be a pirate would so unbearable? Obviously she is also waiting for the opportunity, but unfortunately in the original book, she is the only one who can't resist and has no chance. But maybe now, I think tonight's plan will be simpler. Lu Chengkong glanced at the 5 Marines around him. The man in gorgeous clothes should have gone back to the cabin to rest, maybe catch him. There will be unexpected gains. Thinking of this, Lu Chengkong's eyes can't help but flicker. Looks like we might have a chance to escape. Lu Chengkong, who had already closed his eyes, obviously wanted to maintain his fighting power and wanted to kill people at night, didn't even know that there were various thoughts in Boa Hancock's heart at this time. These 2 people are not easy. With their strength, it is absolutely impossible to be caught so easily. The only explanation is that they came here on purpose, but why? What are you doing here at the risk of becoming slaves? Boa Hancock didn't say anything. After all, 2 powerful people would be of great help to her. She didn't even tell her 2 younger sisters who were worried about the leak. Her beautiful eyes slowly closed. There is a hunch that there will be a big change tonight, so she is also saving her stamina. When the 3 of them are thinking about their own affairs, there is no change in the outside world without you, and even the passage of time does not pay attention. The light of the sun in the sky slowly dimmed with the passage of time, and at the same time, the sun that was originally high also slowly descended. It was a wolf howling and roar coming from the forest. Obviously, the forest at night is the most terrifying. Come on. Lu Chengkong, who had been keeping his eyes tightly closed, suddenly opened his eyes as black as ink seemed to merge with the night. The safety of these slaves for many days, and these are the children's powerlessness. Trapped in the iron cage, they didn't concentrate on guarding, plus they had been guarding for a day. These Marines were also tired. This time was also when Lu Chengkong made his move, and he was also the first Marine in the world of One Piece, King of Pirates. Once showed his hideous fangs. 10:10 Killing Night. Lu Chengkong glanced around and found that there was only 1 Marine left standing guard outside the door. The others should be going to dinner or going to town, so now is the best time. Open. Lu Chengkong took out a silver needle from the belt made of animal skin, and quietly opened the iron lock. In the past 2 years, Lu Chengkong has learned everything about the world of One Piece, King of Pirates, in addition to practicing and fighting. Knowledge, including unlocking, is a good thing after all. Not to mention the role of unlocking is very useful in the world of One Piece, King of Pirates. Although his unlocking skills are not very high, he can still open these locks. Shish. Lu Chengkong found that the children here were all asleep. Only a pair of bright black eyes looked at him. Needless to say, it was also Boa Hancock. Seeing her performance, Lu Chengkong confirmed his guess this morning, but even if he knew about it, he couldn't help but made a quiet gesture to her, and the latter nodded knowingly. Kill. Lu Chengkong gestured to Khalifa beside him with a decapitation motion, and then his speed suddenly increased to the maximum, and the distance of less than 5 meters was crossed in an instant. Although the Marine soldier, wow, is a low-level existence, he has undergone a lot of training. He has no problem with ordinary thieves and guns in his hands, but now he has no idea that someone will attack him. I didn't even think that the children inside would attack him. So he instinctively turned around to block Lu Chengkong's attack. When he opened his mouth and was about to shout, Khalifa's attack also arrived. It was impossible for him to resist the sudden attack from 2 different directions at the same time. The throat appeared. A red line, blood splattered, and the body fell into a pool of blood. This is your weapon. I know that the 3 of you are not weak, especially you. These children will only be killed if they are released now. After we fool these Marines, we will release them, okay? Lu, after killing the dragon-set Marine, Chengkong immediately searched out all his guns and weapons, then rescued Boa Hancock and her 2 sisters, and handed the weapons to the 3 of them. Network. Yeah, the 3 of them are also 12 years old, plus they are soldiers from 9 Snake Island, and they are not unreasonable people. They also understand that Lu Chengkong's words are the most correct, and now they are caught by surprise. It's the best time, absolutely can't go wrong, and these children have been panicked for many days. They are all tired and fell asleep, and the movement just now was very small, so they didn't wake up, which saved a lot for Lu Chengkong and others. Unnecessary effort. Let's go. Lu Chengkong has trained himself in sneak attacks in the past 2 years, especially in the face of sneak attacks by various beasts at night, and he has gained a lot from them, although the aura on his body is not as good as it is. Those who have gone through death training on CP9, but even so, they should not be underestimated. At least Boa Hancock can't feel the existence of Lu Chengkong and Khalifa when he closes his eyes. 2. Lu Chengkong folded the deck and saw the 2 Marines in front and left drinking there. The bald Marine I saw today was not there, and apparently went to town. I and Khalifa pack one, can you guys do the other? Lu Chengkong asked Boa Hancock in a low voice. Don't underestimate me, I'm a warrior from Amazon Lily Island. If they hadn't used anesthesia on us, how would they have caught us so easily? Boa Hancock felt that he was underestimated, as the Queen's strong temperament was immediately dismissed. Excited, he held on to the little steamed bun that he had begun to develop, although it did not exist much. He proudly raised his little head as if to tell Lu Chengkong that he was absolutely fine. I really underestimated her. It seems that her strength is still higher than that of Khalifa and me. She didn't lie. She should have used drugs such as anesthesia to catch them. Lu Chengkong heard Boa Hancock's words and looked at the situation slightly. At that time, Boa Hancock, although still a lowly, but at the age of 12, her amazing charm has begun to exude, because the damage caused by the anesthetic has long disappeared, and now the breath on her body tells Lu Chengkong that Boa Hancock's strength is absolutely stronger than himself and Khalifa. But better this way, at least it won't get in the way when fighting. Kill, don't leave one. Kindness to the enemy is cruelty to oneself. Lu Chengkong immediately rushed up with Khalifa after he finished speaking. Boa Hancock behind him was stunned when he heard the words. Vivi suddenly appeared in his little head that he had become a slave. The tragic life after that was caused by the Marines in front of him. Boa Hancock, who was still a little unbearable in Vivi, suddenly had a cold murderous intent in his eyes. What? How did those little ghosts escape? Quick! Everyone came out, and some people escaped. This is a little distance from the center of the deck, and the sound caused by the full-speed dash immediately aroused the vigilance of these Marines, and their instinct was to shout. With a bang, at the same time, they picked up the long spear from their backs and aimed at Lu Chengkong and the 2 of them with a single shot. Although I don't know how you came out, this shot is enough to make you fight. Although this will make your price cheaper, it's better than nothing. Marine soldiers thought so. It's a pity the next scene was that his shocked eyes almost fell to the ground. Shave! Lu Chengkong roared in his heart. His feet stepped on the ground twice in an instant, 1 foot twice, combined to make 4 times. The originally slow speed suddenly doubled, turning into an afterimage to avoid the bullet that came from the blast fired, and a pitch-black arc was drawn in midair. At some point in his right hand, he held a dagger. It was a knife to the pirate in front of him who was in a sluggish state because of surprise. At the same time, Khalifa, who was not as fast as herself, was worried that she would not die and also hit her heart with a knife. Not bad, you guys. When Lu Chengkong picked up the Marine's weapon and looked at Boa Hancock and the others, he found that they had also killed the Marine, so he threw the weapon in his hand, because he was worried about being searched. So Lu Chengkong, I don't dare to bring too many weapons, and now one of Boa Hancock's sisters doesn't have a weapon. This gun and a long knife are the best for her. If you don't leave any of them, kill them all. The man in gorgeous clothes cut off his limbs and took him as a hostage. This man's identity is not low, and he should be an entourage who serves Tenryubito. Lu Chengkong did not finish speaking to Boa Hancock. Opportunity ran to the place of light immediately. At least 1/3 of the Marines here went to the town. They must kill all the people here before they come back, otherwise it will be more troublesome, because Lu Chengkong has been in trouble since this morning. Knowing that the bald Marine is the strongest, no less than Boa Hancock at this time. A man with a lot of personality can actually ignore my charm, but I like it. Boa Hancock looked at Lu Chengkong's performance and saw that he looked at him with no sense of except for admiration. Boa Hancock was very fond of Lu Chengkong under her great kindness, but this was obviously not the time to think about it, so she greeted the two sisters behind her and rushed towards the bright spot. 11:011 Khalifa goes crazy. What? Those little ghosts escaped, what's the matter? Except for the three girls from Nine Snake Island, the others should not be so powerful. What's going on with Mother Cha? Hearing this after the dead person named Cha Mu shouted, the entire marine was boiling, and immediately entered a fighting state, and ran out with a handful of guns. Fortunately, 1/3 of the people went. In the town, Lu Chengkong and others also killed 3 people just now, and now there are 7 marine soldiers on board besides the man in gorgeous clothes. Trouble, let's go all out. Khalifa next to Lu Chengkong shouted. At this time, he was desperate. If the 7 marines in front of him were to fire at the same time, it would be very dangerous. He is not afraid of Luffy eating the rubber fruit. Bullets, nor the terrible endurance and rebound of his rubber, can bring the shaving effect to an astonishing level. After all, Lu Chengkong is only a 6-year-old child. Even if his physical strength is far greater than that of ordinary people, he cannot change this fact. He is still a mortal body. It would be better if he learned about iron. If you hit it, you're done, even if it's just one. Shaving. Lu Chengkong also did not care about the damage and sequelae to his body after using shaving for many times. Anyway, Khalifa told him that his body's resilience would become very amazing when he suffered huge trauma. In this situation, Lu Chengkong could not tolerate so much scruples. Die! Lu Chengkong roared, like a wild beast after being injured. With a terrifying murderous aura, he slashed to increase the speed and came to the nearest marine. The dagger in his hand was on the moon. It turned into a crescent moon under the illumination of, and cut out a dazzling arc. Ah! The sad marine never thought that the 6-year-old ant in front of him would be so strong, and Marine's Rokushiki shaved, although only 2 steps on the ground, but the speed is also very fast under the clever use amazing. Novel Network. Oops, these little bastards are not easy. Don't keep your hands. Money is important, but you also need to enjoy fame. One of Marine's eyes suddenly shrank, and he roared, and then took the lead in controlling the spear in his hand to face Lu Chengkong in front of him. Deadly shooting. Boom. Boom. Lu Chengkong and Khalifa instantly killed 2 people with the most basic shaving and the opponent's scruples of underestimating the enemy, but even in the face of the 5 marines who no longer kept their hands, Lu Chengkong pushed away Khalifa at the critical moment, but 3 of the 5 bullets hit his left hand, chest, and under his right foot, and poignant blood shot out from his body. Ah! Khalifa, who had escaped the catastrophe, watched Lu Chengkong's body as a shaky body that was about to fall asleep at any time, and she couldn't help but let out a high decibel scream, but she didn't. Without losing her mind, she knew very well that as long as she didn't hit the key, Lu Chengkong's powerful resilience that would appear on the verge of death would have absolutely no problem to recover. I want you to die. Khalifa screamed, and for a moment Khalifa only felt that all the blood in his body was boiling, and there was a crisp crackling sound from all over the body, as delicate as a small foot carved out of white jade. She hit the ground 3 times, and the speed was 3 points faster than before. The 2 daggers in her left and right hands were drawn in the air, and the 2 lives were immediately harvested by her. Not only that, Khalifa, who had fallen into a semi-mad state, completely forgot the burden on her body. Continued to shave at the speed of the other 2 marines. Come on, that's the marine superhuman skill Rokushiki. I've heard of this skill, and all I can learn is perverted. The only 3 marines' pupils shrunk into a small dot, and they screamed in fear, but it's a pity it is very dangerous to have the heart to run away during the battle. If they choose to shoot instead of fleeing at this time, Khalifa in a straight line thrusting state is sure to die, but it is a pity that they are afraid of death, but Khalifa is ruined. So these marines are sure to die. Die! Khalifa's lotus arm waved the 2 marines who were about to escape and immediately blood flowed, and fell to the ground with a snap. The queen on the other side shot and killed the last marine after dodging the bullets, but even so she saw at this time, Khalifa's beautiful eyes were still full of astonishment. At the critical moment, Lu Chengkong's potential finally exploded in order to save her from an accident. Her strength finally broke through, and she could use the three-step shave several times in a row. Chengkong, don't worry, you promised my sister that you won't leave me. Khalifa, who killed 4 Marines in an instant, didn't care about the blood on his body or the trembling body. The Boundwell came to Lu Chengkong and hugged him in his arms, shaking his body gently, for fear that he would leave him. Cough, don't worry, I can't die, I'm not a fool, I was ready when I saw the trajectory of those bullets. None of these bullets hit the key. It's okay. Hello, girl from 9 Snake Island, hurry up and bring up the well-dressed person below, and at the same time let him bring all the valuables over. Hurry up. Lu Chengkong first stretched out his trembling right hand and patted Khalifa, indicating that he was fine. Don't worry, and then turned to the side in a daze. Boa Hancock growled. Oh, Boa Hancock snorted involuntarily as if she had just woken up from a dream. She didn't realize that she seemed to be different from usual. Usually she was very arrogant. Even if the powerful warriors of 9 Snake Island and her elders ordered her, she would not dump them, but now Lu Chengkong yelled, her body ran into the cabin like an instinct. After a while, Boa Hancock and her 2 sisters came out with a beaten man. This guy was obviously taught a lesson by Boa Hancock, and his arrogance were long gone. Okay, push these corpses into the sea, and then set off the boat. Lu Chengkong's face was as pale as paper, but he still resisted the coma that kept coming from his nerves and said bluntly. Boa Hancock and the others immediately followed Lu Chengkong's words. As soldiers of 9 Snake Island, they had received various trainings and teachings since they were children, not to mention the simple things of sailing and controlling ships. Although his body is petite, he is still very skilled at doing things. He is familiar with the road. Kojima Lu Chengkong, who has watched the marine ship slowly leave this life and has been living for 2 years, is suddenly relieved, but he does not let himself fall asleep, because there are still 2 bullets in the body that have not been taken out. The most valuable thing should be the contents of these boxes. Sister, kill him and throw him into the sea. There should be medicines and tools for wounds in the cabin, you can find them. 12012 Mysterious Dream. After a lot of hard work, Khalifa and Boa Hancock finally found the tools and medicines to heal their injuries. As for Boa Hancock's 2 sisters, of course, they are in charge of controlling the ship. At this time, they must find an island as soon as possible due to their strength and situation, otherwise it will be very difficult. It will be found by those Marines soon, and it will really be dead by then. I found it, but there's no anesthetic. Boa Hancock happily ran over with a box in hand, only to think of something and his face suddenly stepped down. Cough, I thought you said nothing. It turned out to be anesthesia. It's not a problem if you don't have these things. Sister, come on. Lu Chengkong chuckled lightly, as if he was not the one who was injured. Boa Hancock, who was still a little girl at this time, was full of admiration for his audacity. The female warriors of 9 Snake Island admired the strong, because the status of women was inherently low. Therefore, the people of 9 Snake Island admire the strong. Although Lu Chengkong is not a strong man yet, his performance today deeply shocked Boa Hancock. Yeah, Khalifa didn't refuse either. After all, for the 2 years they were injured, they were all handled by the other party. Khalifa had learned these methods and skills from the doctors in the town. Self-taught with their books, the subjects of the experiment are of course cats and dogs. Khalifa, whose body has recovered a lot, is very proficient in checking the tools in the medical box. After confirming that there are not many tools needed, Khalifa immediately picked up a lighter and heated all the tools such as the scalpel, and then opened a knife to Lu Chengkong's wound. Vivi. Holding the pliers and putting it into Lu Chengkong's wound. It sounds complicated, but Khalifa did nothing wrong, and it didn't cause Lu Chengkong to suffer unnecessary pain. Hey, there are 2 more. Khalifa breathed a sigh of relief after taking out 1 bullet, and Boa Hancock on the side immediately picked up the towel that had been prepared for a long time to wipe the sweat off Khalifa's forehead, and also for Lu Chengkong. After wiping the blood off his body, there was a cold sweat on his face because of the pain. However, this is not the first time that Lu Chengkong, who has been injured, did not hum during the operation. Obviously, his 2-year jungle fighting career has greatly helped him. Whether it is now or in the future, this is a solid foundation. Benefit: the foundation is not only the foundation of the body, but also the foundation of the mind, will, and nerves. There is no doubt that Lu Chengkong has done a good job in this regard. Whether it is willpower, endurance or endurance, he is very sturdy. After 10 minutes, Khalifa finally took out all 3 bullets with hard work. At the same time, the wound was not infected with bacteria, and the treatment was very good. At this time, Lu Chengkong's strong resilience played a great role. Although it is not exaggerated to recover instantly like the Majin Buu in Dragon Ball, the granulation of the wound is slowly wriggling at a speed that is unseen by the naked eye, and there is no blood coming out of the wound. Obviously Lu Chengkong's wound recovery is from the internal organs of the body have begun to recover, and the bleeding has already stopped, so there is no need for stitches at all. Hey, I'm really exhausted. I want to take a rest first. I'll leave it to you. Lu Chengkong breathed a sigh of relief. Although he could endure the pain, it didn't mean he wasn't afraid of the pain. The feeling of the rest of his life after the catastrophe, just after he finished saying a sentence, the boundless darkness suddenly eroded his Dan trouble and Lu Chengkong fell into a glorious slumber. Khalifa, you should take a rest too. I thought you had a breakthrough just now. Now you are tired too. Leave it to us here. Boa Hancock tried to make his tone softer. It is the same life and death, and Lu Chengkong and the 2 of them have shown each other that they can sacrifice their lives for each other, which has made Boa Hancock fully admit the 2 of them, so they speak like sisters. Okay. Khalifa didn't refuse either. After all, he still had to seize the time to recover. Who knows what would happen in the next moment. After nodding, he gently picked up Lu Chengkong and walked towards the shipyard. Sister, I have a feeling as if I had a dream. Boa Marigold, one of Boa Hancock's sisters, said with emotion. I think so too. Boa Sandersonia nodded in agreement. Okay, don't talk about this. We are not out of danger yet. Now we take turns to watch the night and try to preserve as much physical strength as possible. Boa Hancock waved his hand to prevent the 2 of them from continuing to talk, and her petite body actually spread out following her orders. With an aura that only a leader can have, people can't help but give birth to the idea of trusting her, and the body can't help but follow her words. Yes. Facing her eldest sister, her 2 younger sisters would never refuse but obey. The 2 nodded at the same time and then discussed the order of the vigil. At this time, Lu Chengkong, who was in a coma, found himself in a world with a red moon. A man with a handsome appearance had a pair of wings that only demons could know from his back. He held a sickle in his hand and kept chasing him. When he fell to the ground and saw that the sharp sickle was about to cut off his neck, the whole world suddenly stopped and then shattered. At the same time, Lu Chengkong also opened his eyes, obviously awakened. Is this really a dream? Why do I have this dream every time I get injured in the past 2 years? Is it a coincidence or? Lu Chengkong thought about it for a while, but he didn't have a clue. It could only be summed up after eating the fruit of that mysterious man. The sequelae, or the sequelae of crossing, but when he waved his body, he noticed that his body had actually recovered a lot, and even the wound had almost healed. It seems that this is not a coincidence at all. Every time I am injured to a certain point, I will enter this dream, but after waking up, my body will recover. The more time I tremble with the man with devil wings, the more the wounds healed after I woke up, the faster. Quote. Lu Chengkong can already be sure that his phenomenon is definitely not a coincidence, and he has already guessed in his heart that it is because of the effect of the mysterious fruit. This fruit definitely has some magical effect, otherwise it has the ability to allow him to travel through time and space. The people of the sect would definitely not care so much, and would not be so angry that they would throw themselves into the world of One Piece, King of Pirates. Thinking of this, Lu Chengkong has more confidence in his path to becoming a strong man. 13.013 Mysterious Paramesha. Forget it, it doesn't matter, as long as I can become stronger, I will know all this one day. Net, Lu Chengkong shook his head, suppress these thoughts, stood up and covered himself with the quilt that was originally on him. On the other side of Khalifa, who looked like a sleeping beauty, and then walked out on tiptoe. Huh, you woke up so soon. Wow, you didn't eat some devil fruit, did you? Why did the wound heal so quickly? Boa Hancock, who is now in charge of the night watch, saw that Lu Chengkong had woken up, and his face was full of joy. However, after noticing that the wounds on his body had actually recovered, he suddenly said with a surprised expression, he looked very cute, as if he had discovered a new continent. I'm not too sure, by the way, what's in these boxes? Lu Chengkong patted his forehead as if I wasn't very clear, and then changed the subject. If you don't tell me, I almost forgot, they're all here. 2 of them were taken out of the dark compartment only by the guy who was coerced and lured by me. I think they're all good things. Boa Hancock is still young after all. Adding Lu Chengkong's shifting topic also attracted her attention, so she didn't ask any further questions. Let's see. Wow, it's a devil fruit, from Paramesha. Lu Chengkong looked at the 5 boxes in front of him. The last 2 were in brocade boxes. They were very gorgeous and precious. Just by looking at their appearance, they knew they were good things. Wow, the first one to open is the devil fruit, the other 4 will not be the same. Boa Hancock was also surprised, and couldn't wait to open the other 2, only to find that they were all devil fruits, but different from the previous Paramesha. The last 2 are Zone's devil fruit. There are 5 here. If the last 2 are devil fruits, then let's divide it equally. After all, everyone here has contributed to the things here. Lu Chengkong doesn't have to be domineering and use it all for his own use, because the performance of the 3 Boa Hancock sisters in the battle is also after the fact. His performance was acknowledged by Lu Chengkong. When they were sleeping with Khalifa, they completely occupied all these devil fruits and then killed themselves and Khalifa, but they didn't, so Lu Chengkong made such a decision, not to mention that one devil fruit can only be eaten by one person, which is more it's useless. On the contrary, it is definitely worth using these devil fruits to befriend an empress who will surpass the strength of the original book in the future. In the original book, Boa Hancock caused a huge shadow in her heart because of the incident of Tenryubito, which had a great hindrance and influence on her cultivation, but now Boa Hancock has left with her own strength and perseverance, and there is no such shadow that adds to her side by side. If guided, Hancock, whose strength is no less than Admiral's in the future, will definitely be stronger. It seems that many things have changed under the influence of his own variable, and it also proves that the future of the original book is not immutable. The first 3 are Paramesha and Zone, so the last 2 are so well packaged must be Logia. Thinking of this, Lu Chengkong's eyes couldn't help shooting out 2 hot flames, and at the same time he reached out and opened the last 2 brocade boxes. How is that possible? Lu Chengkong said in surprise, making Boa Hancock beside him think something happened and quickly asked, what's wrong? Since the first 3 are Zone and Paramesha, then the last 2 boxes are so precious, so they should be Logia, but now only one of them is Logia, and the other is not, so I was surprised. Lu Chengkong calmed down and said after being surprised. At the same time, he made an analysis in his mind. The fact that this Paramesha fruit can be treated like this absolutely proves that this fruit is not simple. Hancock, I want this Paramesha, as for this Logia, I want to leave it to Khalifa, okay. Lu Chengkong said a little embarrassedly, after all, these 5 fruits are obviously the most precious of the last 2 devil fruits, especially the one among them. This is especially true for Paramesha in a brocade box. Now, he actually asked for the most precious 2 of them right away. Hee, can you ask me for my opinion to prove that you have accepted my friend? Without the 2 of you, I believe that the future of the 3 of us will be very miserable, not to mention that we can get the devil fruit now. These are all you and Khalifa fought back with her life, so these should all be yours. You saved the 3 of us. I am already very grateful to you. Why would you be so embarrassed to ask for these spoils? Quote. Boa Hancock smiled lightly, looking at Lu Chengkong with more satisfied eyes, then shook his head and said, how can this be? I said just now that if there are 5 fruits, then we will share it equally. Each person can only eat 1 devil fruit. It is useless to eat more. how can you take the credit for the things here? And if you haven't escaped, one more fighting force is one more chance to live, so don't talk about it, I'm a little ashamed if you say it again. When Lu Chengkong saw what Boa Hancock was going to say, he immediately waved his hand to stop her from speaking, and then pushed 3 of the devil fruits in front of her. Lu Chengkong was sure that the 3 fruits in front of him were the 3 Boa Hancock sisters. The 3 that the original book ate. As for the mysterious Paramesha and Logia, I don't know. As for why Lu Chengkong didn't want Logia but chose this Paramesha, it's very simple. It's just a 2-word feeling. After crossing the border, Lu Chengkong sometimes has a strange feeling about certain things and some people, and it has proved him in the past 2 years. How accurate the feeling is, just like the decision to kill these Marines before, at that time there was a voice in his heart telling him that if he didn't go, he would regret it for the rest of his life, that's why he worked so hard. Now this feeling has come again. After seeing this mysterious Superman fruit, the familiar voice appeared in his heart. Since Tenryubito's followers will value this mysterious Paramesha fruit so much, plus their own feelings, so Lu Chengkong made this decision. As for Logia's giving to Khalifa, it was entirely because of his care and love for Khalifa, and he was very dissatisfied with the bubble fruit she ate in the original book. I'll eat it first, but I heard that devil fruit is hard to eat, it's more painful than eating shit, so you have to be prepared, Sister, you are also awake, here is Logia's devil fruit, what is it? I don't know about the ability, let's eat first, Logia has improved a lot in a short period of time. Lu Chengkong saw that Khalifa, Boa Marigold, and Boa Sandersonia also woke up, so he told what he knew. Them. Even with the 3 of them watching intently, Lu Chengkong picked up the mysterious Paramesha fruit, swallowed it, and stuffed it into his mouth, just like a person who would die because of his righteousness. 14:014 Brunette. Ouch! As soon as this fruit was eaten, Lu Chengkong's face turned blue and purple, and he immediately knelt on the ground and vomited, but the devil fruit is very strange that once you eat it, you can't spit it out, and the effect is very fast. Come on, Luffy turned into a rubber body about 10 seconds after eating it. Damn, it's too painful. What's worse than shit, it's the worst thing in the world to eat. Lu Chengkong said with lingering fears, his face was full of the color of the rest of his life, and he was not afraid of the sky. It smells like devil fruit. Is it really that bad? Khalifa said with a curious look on the baby's face, and then picked up the Logia fruit and ate it. In an instant, her complexion was as blue and purple as the former Lu Chengkong, but because the girl's restraint was not as low as Lu Chengkong's. Zhang Kong vomited like that in public, but looking at her sweating profusely, she knew how hard she had endured. Eldest sister, can the jagged goddess of war Khalifa be so unbearable, is this devil fruit really so unpalatable? Boa Sandersonia asked a little scared when she saw Lu Chengkong's performance. Well, let's not talk about it, we are the warriors of the Amazon Lily Island. You also know the benefits of devil fruits. Are we afraid that they have eaten them all in the sky? Boa Hancock said indifferently, but if you look closely, it is still Vivi could find that her right hand was shaking at this time. Obviously, her heart was not so indifferent on the surface, but in order to maintain her majesty and status as the eldest sister, she could only eat it indifferently, not even blushing or panting. Khalifa and Lu Chengkong on the side were full of admiration. Wait for me here, I'll go get something. Boa Hancock walked into the cabin with a blank face and the appearance of a facially paralyzed woman, but Lu Chengkong, who had a very good hearing, waited for the sound of vomiting, obviously she was also enduring it. No longer. Puff. Lu Chengkong's ability to hold back his laughter doesn't mean that Khalifa, who also understands what's going on, can't help it. Seeing her smiling face, Boa Sandersonia, who was a little confused beside her beautiful smile, also understood, although they were not directly like Khalifa. The smiles were so direct, but their faces couldn't help but laugh. I want it. Eat it. The 2 girls, Boa Marigold, looked at each other and ate the last 2 devil fruits at the same time. The 2 of them couldn't compare to Boa Hancock, not even Lu Chengkong, so they vomited. It took about a minute to recover, but her pretty face was still covered in cold sweat. Is it still a step slower? Damn it. Just when Boa Hancock, who had already returned from the cabin, was about to say something, a cold humming sound came out from the boat, accompanied by it as a terrifying momentum that covers the sky and the sun. Under the cover of this momentum, even the tumbling sea has calmed down. There is not even a wave of waves, and the sea covered by the momentum is completely still and no flow. What is this, hockey? Lu Chengkong thought in shock. At the same time, just as he was about to pass out, the momentum disappeared in an instant. Fortunately, the momentum was fleeting, otherwise it would have been conqueror hockey. Boa Hancock, who has not awakened, will also pass out. So far, the 5 people present have the strongest resistance to hockey. However, if this hockey lasts for 1 more second, even Boa Hancock can't bear it. How is it possible? Even the sea must be still. Even the top conqueror hockey powerhouses of the level of red-haired Shanks and Whitebeard can only make the Sea Kings tremble, but this person's hockey actually even the sea must be still. Is there such a strong person in this One Piece, King of Pirates? All kinds of light flashed in Lu Chengkong's eyes, and he shouted in disbelief, but his body didn't even have the strength to speak under the pressure of the fleeting hockey just now. Lu Chengkong reluctantly opened his eyes and looked at the source of the sound. At some point on the Marine's military flag, there was a man whose face could not be seen clearly, but it could still be seen from the outline that the person was a black-haired woman. Is it a step too late? Did she mean devil fruit? Did I eat the devil fruit that originally belonged to her? And the only person who knows everything here is Tenryubito. Is she the Tenryubito who is hiding behind her back? And only this explanation can explain why do those rubbish Tenryubito in the original have the power to command Marine. Quote. After about a minute, Lu Chengkong felt that he had finally regained control over his body. He stood up slowly, his eyes had long since lost the horror he had before. And with the strength of the other party, if they want to kill themselves and others, let hockey be released for a few more seconds, and they will directly break down several of them, so Lu Chengkong will be so calm. It seems that you know a lot, you have already guessed my identity. The mysterious black-haired girl hummed Isho, but her voice was as cold as ever, making it impossible to guess what she was thinking at this time. If you want to kill or cut, give me a word. I want to know if the fruit that you care about is Khalifa's Logia fruit. No, it's the Paramesha fruit that I ate. Lu Chengkong forced himself to calm down. The more he said this, the more calm the situation is, the faster the speed of thinking is improved to the extreme, it will be understood. It's very smart. It seems that you not only know a lot, but you are also very smart. You can support my hockey for a second without awakening hockey. Although it is only a few % of hockey, your nerves and will are still good. Yes, without the guidance of a famous teacher, you should have cultivated yourself by fighting beasts in the jungle and stealing the basics of marine. Quote. The black-haired girl is like a prophet, as if all the truth cannot be hidden from her. She is the strongest wise person. No, she is someone who can see through the future. Just by looking at Lu Chengkong, she will know everything about Lu Chengkong. See through. Who is this woman? It's terrible. Lu Chengkong thought so in his heart, but he could only passively listen to the woman in front of him. Hockey, released at will, is to make the sea still. If it is full force, it will be fine. Even if I eat the devil fruit, I can't take it out. Even if I kill you, it's not easy to find it again. You are lucky, you have eaten the fruit that originally belonged to me. It's a pity that such a fruit that was close to perfect in the early stage. It's gone. It seems that I can only eat this, although this fruit is not inferior to that one. Hey. The black-haired girl's tone suddenly became a little helpless, and she actually took it in front of Lu Chengkong. A pineapple-like fruit came out and ate it. Logia fruit. Vivi was surprised when Lu Chengkong saw the fruit clearly, and secretly thought to himself when the Logia fruit became popular, and the fruit that the woman in front of him could see would definitely not be garbage, or she wouldn't keep it. A Logia didn't eat this Paramesha, but instead looked for it to eat. At this time, Lu Chengkong was even more grateful for his previous choice, and at the same time believed more in his indescribable feeling. 15.015 Tenryubito Niels. The taste is really unpalatable. I want it. The black-haired girl's tone fluctuated slightly, and sure enough, the taste of the devil fruit really ignored the difference in strength, even if the girl in front of her with a powerful and terrifying strength ate it. A little mood swing. Since you ate my devil fruit, you have to do something for me, but only if you can survive. Take this thing, go to the nearest marine base, just show them and they will know what to do. Of course you can choose to run away, but when the time comes, what will happen to you? The black-haired girl didn't say any more, but Lu Chenggong also knew what he meant. The girl's luck is good. The logia fruit she ate is one of the most mysterious fruits, the fruit of light. Forget it, her qualifications are not bad. It is your chance to get these. As long as you can survive, then forget it. The black-haired girl said this with a bit of bitterness. Obviously, she searched for the fruit Lu Chenggong ate for a long time and spent a lot of time to find it. Maybe it was because Lu Chenggong couldn't get the result directly for some reason. As for the fruit of light that is placed in Logia's fruit, it is also a top fruit, but such a fruit in the mouth of this black-haired girl is not as good as the Paramesha fruit that Lu Chenggong ate. From this, it can be seen that the one Lu Chenggong ate. How extraordinary and terrifying the fruit is. The fruit that can make people of her strength care so much is definitely not simple. I wish you good luck. I hope you won't let me down, hey. The brunette sighed, but in the end she managed to pack up her mind. After all, she also had 2 hands to prepare, and the logia fruit she ate was no worse than a willow. The difference in Chenggong is just that her heart is more inclined towards the fruit of Lu Chenggong. After the black-haired girl let out a sigh, she disappeared in the same place as before she came, without making a sound. Lu Chenggong, Khalifa and Boa Hancock, who were not in a coma, didn't realize how she left. Hee, the fastest red-haired Shanks and the shiny Kizaru are just jokes in front of her. Lu Chenggong let out a complicated sigh, then picked up the document that the black-haired girl threw to the place, only to find it inside. It was written with some words that Lu Chenggong did not understand, and it was obviously some secret communication text, but at the point it was stamped by a dragon with claws and claws, not a Western dragon but a Chinese-style dragon. It seems that I still have to face this woman in the future, but it's good, at least let me know that this world of One Piece, King of Pirates, still hides people who are far more powerful than Whitebeard and others, and get so many benefits, too. It's a worthwhile trip. With this document, it seems that even if Marine and other Tenryubito know that it was me who killed the people here, they won't be held accountable. It's really giving me a pillow when I'm drowsy. What I need most now is the guidance of a famous teacher. You actually gave it to me. Brought this thing. Lu Chenggong looked at the document in his hand. Although he didn't know what was stamped by this woman, he still understood the words in the title, CP9. That's right, Lu Chenggong guessed that this woman wanted to let herself join CP9 based on her own strength. This was a test for herself. If she couldn't join her strength and couldn't reach the level she expected, then she would definitely kill herself and come to Lu Chenggong. There is no benefit to saying that. The strength will improve faster under huge pressure, and he has been fascinated by Rokushiki in CP9 for a long time, but the physical strength is not enough and there is no cultivation method. Of course, the easiest and most difficult shaving is the exception. Go to the place where the memory pointer points. That should be the area of Sabayati Archipelago's auction house. Lu Chenggong said to Boa Hancock, who was just waking up from a dream and still in a daze. Oh, Boa Hancock came back to his senses after hearing Lu Chenggong's voice, and immediately drove past the place pointed by the memory pointer. This place has not left the sea area of Sabayati Archipelago. At this speed, I believe that it should be able to arrive tomorrow morning. The 3 of Lu Chenggong did not speak that night, because what they had experienced today was too much and too complicated, not to mention anything else. Only the 3 Boa Hancock first became slaves, then escaped, and then the devil fruit. In the end, a strong perverted mysterious black-haired girl came out. A series of events overwhelmed Lu Chenggong and the others. Even Lu Chenggong didn't even bother to pay attention to what kind of fruit he ate. As for the unconscious Boa Merrig, the two German girls are not so easy to wake up. After all, people who were suffocated by hockey and fainted by the perverted and strong hockey are not so easy to wake up, they can only wait for them to wake up. When he woke up the next day, Lu Qingkong found a large and small island in his line of sight. As he kept getting closer, when he finally stopped to the side, Lu Qingkong found that there were many bubbles on the island, and it flew very far. Tall skies don't break so easily. When the marine ship came to a stop, Lu Qingkong found that there were soldiers all around, and even Tenryubito came out. Obviously, even Tenryubito on the bright side wouldn't dare to underestimate the contents. The people inside raised their hands and surrendered immediately, otherwise we would open fire immediately. What surprised Lu Qingkong most was that there were actually two admirals in marine, Kuzan and a kainu of water and fire, namely Red Dog, two people. They all looked like they were waiting, and even the people nearby opened their eyes wide to see who was facing the lineup who could get such treatment from marine. Even Sabayati Archipelago, who was hiding there, Rayleigh, the king of the underworld, was also hiding and watching the boat. People. It just makes everyone unbelievable or even unacceptable that the children who came out of the marine are all children. The oldest is only 11 or 12 years old, because Lu Qingkong and Khalifa's heights do not look like 6 years old and 8 years old at all. Year-old children can have it, so it is also classified into the 11 to 2-year-old crowd. The leader is a boy with black hair Karome. Compared with the marine's powerhouse, his strength is not outdated. Why are so many people surrounded and suppressed? This idea not only appeared in marine but also in the hearts of Pluto, Rayleigh and Kuzan, a kainu. You guys are Tenryubito, you really are such rubbish. After Lu Qingkong came out, he looked disdainful of everything, and the first sentence made everyone present, including the two admirals, change their faces. What did you say? You actually dare to insult us? You, Tenryubito, who was wearing a bubble hood, was obviously being scolded like this for the first time. Apparently he is also facing this situation for the first time. 16016 Tragic Traffickers. Why are you unhappy with me? Is it wrong for me to scold you? Tell me, is it wrong? Lu Qingkong didn't stop, but continued to speak disdainfully, but this time he raised the document in his hand, the golden shining one. The dragon-shaped imprint of the dragon fell into the people present, and those who don't know may not have it, but the two Tenryubito and Kuzan, who was recommended to be the next Marine Headquarters Marshal, suddenly changed their faces when they saw this imprint. You're right. Tenryubito, who was about to wave someone to kill Lu Qingkong just now, saw a 180-degree change in his attitude after seeing the imprint of the document in Lu Qingkong's hand, and even knelt down to Lu Qingkong, completely ignoring the sluggishness of the last person. The stunned eyes and appearance directly fell to the ground, and said with sincerity and fear, "Oh my God, what is going on here?" The arrogant and domineering Tenryubito actually knelt down to people. What could be more devastating than this incident? Only Tenryubito and Kuzan, who knew the inside story, understood what the mark meant. Kneel down for me. Tenryubito raised his head and looked at the people around him who dared to stand, as if thinking of something terrible, and immediately roared at those Marines. Forced by Tenryubito's long-standing majesty and the power behind them, some of the Marines knelt down almost instinctively. As for those nearby who were used to being bullied by Tenryubito, they fell to the ground in fright. Damn, this is what's going on. They are all vicious criminals, and they let the righteous Marine kneel down for them. Ah, the red dog on the side is a kainu, who can sacrifice everything for the so-called justice. The scene where all the Marines other than him kneeled down was about to roar immediately. Fortunately, Kuzan next to him punched him on the head and forcibly pressed him down. Seeing that he was about to resist, Kuzan immediately fell in his ear. Said a word. What? Akainu's face changed dramatically, and finally, under Lu Qingkong's playful eyes, his expression changed drastically, and he looked very ugly, but he could only kneel on the ground helplessly. Akainu, who was the most stubborn, knelt down. People are even more astonished. What are the identities of these little ghosts in front of them? If things go out here, things may change. She asked me to give it to you. Lu Chengkong walked up to Kuzan with a blank face and handed the document to Kuzan, but his heart was not much better than the people here. Although he knew the mysterious girl, the status of S identity is absolutely high in Tenryubito, but I never thought that it would be so high. Just a mark would have such a big energy. Just now Lu Chengkong was also very worried when he saw so many people besieging him, but in the end he decided to fight because he believed that woman would never let him die so easily, so he thought of giving it a try. Chengkong deliberately pretended to be incomparably strong and then took out this document hoping to have an unexpected effect. Sure enough, not only did it have this effect, but the impact was even greater than Lu Chengkong thought. This woman is not simple. Compared to Lu Chengkong's composure, the Khalifa girls behind him were dizzy and distracted, and they couldn't imagine that woman's energy was so great. Even Marine Admiral and Tenryubito were all because a one imprint knelt down, so if she was a real person, I really didn't dare to think about it. Kuzan can really understand these words. It should be that the woman also expected such a situation early in the morning, and the woman did this to tell herself how much energy she has. Don't think about running away, otherwise no matter where you go, you can't escape death. This is terrible. Why is this terrible woman not described in the original book? If Roger is the king of pirates, then this woman is simply the emperor in the world of One Piece, king of pirates. Even Tenryubito would have to see her mark. Kneeling down, then who else is more noble and terrifying than her status? Please come with me. Compared with a Kainu, Kuzan is obviously more suitable to be a marshal. If Marine is under his leadership, he will definitely be better than Sengoku. A lot of indiscriminate killing of innocent people, of course, this is only relative. Lu Chengkong didn't refuse either. His family knew his own affairs. He was just a fox and a tiger right now. These things can't be overdone. It's enough to achieve the effect of standing up. Larger resources are then too much to say. Although you are the ones recommended by the adult, you must rely on your true abilities to enter CP9. Even I have no right to let you in directly. Kuzan was afraid that Lu Chengkong and the others would not know the situation and go back and file a complaint. Marine's headquarters can't bear to walk around, so he put down his body and the so-called career of acting as a tour guide to explain clearly to Lu Chengkong so as not to cause misunderstanding. All good to say. If I guessed correctly, the world government's tolerance and care for Tenryubito is entirely because of that woman. It seems that my previous guesses are all correct, but unfortunately your abacus is wrong. You want to get that through me. The woman's favor, but you don't know that that woman still wanted to kill me last night, hee. Lu Chengkong pretended to be attentive and comprehended, but his heart was very evil. The girls behind Khalifa and the others knew about this situation, but they almost didn't laugh when they saw Lu Chengkong's appearance, and finally held back for the sake of the overall situation. By the way, Mr. Admiral, can someone send the two of them back to the Amazon Lily Island? By the way, they were abducted by Marine. I hope this will not happen this time. Do you think it's okay? When going to Marine Admiral's unique ship, Lu Chengkong thought that Boa Hancock was from Lily Island, where there is the most exquisite hockey practice method. It would be a waste not to go back there, and he also felt that Hancock's cultivation on Lily Island was the best way. Okay, and he can also get hockey's training method from Boa Hancock when they meet in the future, which is two birds with one stone. There's absolutely no problem with this. Hearing this, Kuzan's expression changed. If there were no outsiders here, he might have jumped up and scolded his mother. Which Marine is so daring and dared to kidnap the person whom the adults valued? My friend, first can't help Marine if I don't cut you to pieces when I go back. For Marine's great cause, I can only sacrifice you, and you're more than worthless. Lu Chengkong didn't know that because of his words, the few remaining Marines who abducted them and survived, that is, the bald Marine and others, had a very miserable and tragic end, but even if he knew, it was nothing. In Kuzan's words, they are indeed dead. 17017 Farewell. What, Chengkong, you want me to go back? What am I doing wrong? Boa Hancock was already exquisite when he heard Lu Chengkong's words, and his pretty face, which became more beautiful after eating the sweet fruit, suddenly crossed. She came down and said with an unhappy face, an invisible charm exuded from her body, because Boa Hancock, who was unable to control her after eating the devil fruit for a long time, showed such a pitiful appearance. Those deep marine soldiers immediately petrified. However, Lu Chengkong, who was prepared early in the morning, was very lucky to escape, and Kuzan, who was walking in the front, immediately understood what was going on, but he didn't dare to swear, and he didn't know what to do. Let Boa Hancock solve it. After all, he already knew from Lu Chengkong that she had a very bad impression of Marine, and this situation was not her intention. Obviously, she couldn't control the natural emission after eating the devil fruit. You are good everywhere, gentle and virtuous. If someone grows up and marries you as a wife, it will definitely be his greatest happiness, but I believe that after this incident, you also know the importance of strength, and there is no strong strength as a backing. In other words, you can't even protect the people you care about, let alone live the life you want, and as far as I know, Lily Island is hockey's paradise. If you go back there, your strength will definitely improve the fastest. Lu Chengkong suggested to let Boa Hancock solve the petrification of those people. If he has the strength, he will not care about those people. After all, those people have bad thoughts for Boa Hancock, but now he is only a fox and a tiger. Facing Kuzan's help, the look in his eyes was not good and too disrespectful, so he could only let Boa Hancock solve their petrification and explain to her at the same time. Let's make an agreement. You are 12 years old now, and you will go to sea at 17. I will come to you on the day you go to sea and make a name for yourself. I will come to the ends of the earth, how about it? With rational and affectionate persuasion, Boa Hancock is also very homesick, and she is also a sensible person who knows that Lu Chengkong is for her own good, so she finally nodded reluctantly and agreed. Although the time between her and Lu Chengkong is only 1 day since they met, but sometimes the relationship between people is so strange. If there is a relationship, even if it is only a minute, even a look can get each other good feelings. The two of them are exactly like this. Although the time they have known each other is very short, the feelings they have built up with each other are very deep. Please come with me. After the previous lesson, those Marine soldiers did not dare to look at Boa Hancock, not to mention Boa Hancock's ability. Just because they can make Marine Admiral and Tenryubito kneel, they are not offended. So they all lead the way with their heads bowed. Let's go too. You don't need to give me the back door. Other people can give me the same training. If I die like this, it will prove that I am just like this, and that woman won't blame you. Lu Chengkong was worried that Kuzan was afraid of offending that woman and let him go through the back door, so he immediately blocked his thoughts with one sentence. Don't worry, CP9 depends entirely on his own strength, and I have no right to interfere. On the surface, Kuzan was still dressed in elegant clothes, but there was still a hint of embarrassment in his eyes. Obviously just now in his heart the face also has this idea. In order to please the adult, even Kuzan, a person with a firm position, has to make a series of actions and ideas that go against justice, but it is precisely because of Lu Chengkong's words that Kuzan is looking at Lu Chengkong. There was a hint of admiration in his eyes. As expected of the person that the adults saw, he can have such a realization at the age of 6. I hope he can survive, otherwise Marine will be miserable. Kuzan thought with a sigh in his heart, although Lu Chengkong said the mysterious girl wouldn't blame them, but how could they believe it? Obviously, all of this was due to Lu Chengkong's previous strengths and proper use. If Lu Chengkong was timid, the effect would definitely not be as good as it is now. 18:018 Perfect. Chengkong at this time knew that Kuzan, who had nothing to do, would be so worried and care about because of his little means. He would definitely laugh so hard. How could he have any background? You must know that under the gaze of so many strong people just now, his heartbeat speed has increased countless times. Network. After waiting for the Admiral warship belonging to Kuzan, Kuzan arranged for him to take a shower in the most advanced room and change into clean clothes. Only after Lu Chengkong remembered that he seemed to have eaten that mysterious girl, the mysterious girl wanted to take it as her own. Some paramesha fruits have not been studied and obtained information until now, and they don't even know what this fruit is called. Thinking of this, Lu Chengkong determined that there would be no danger here, and immediately focused his mind on the piece of information that appeared in his mind after eating the devil fruit. I finally understand why the woman of this paramesha fruit wants so much. This is an almost invincible fruit, but it is also the most tasteless fruit. Lu Chengkong couldn't help after accepting this piece of information after a while. Sighed. It's a long story. This devil fruit is the mirror fruit. The ability is very simple. It is to create mirror images, whether it is one's own or someone else's can be. This fruit falls into the hands of powerful people is simply the most terrifying ability, but falling in the hands of ordinary people with weak hands and no fighting power, it is the most tasteless fruit. Why do you say that? It's very simple. Every devil fruit, whether it's paramesha, zone or even logia, has the weakest ability at the beginning. With continuous digging, the training also depends on the user's talent fruit ability. It will become more and more perverted. For example, Whitebeard's real fruit can even be shattered by control. At the beginning, it will shake the air at most, and the power is very small. Everything depends on how the user uses him. I want full text. And this mirror fruit is actually very simple. At the beginning, you can only create your own mirror, which is exactly the same as yourself, but it can't move and has no strength. However, with the continuous development of these mirrors, it will be able to walk and move like a monster swordsman. Without strength, with the continuous improvement of the ability to develop the mirror fruit, the final mirror created will have exactly the same strength as himself. You can imagine how terrifying the strength of that woman is. If you have this mirror fruit, it will be developed to a certain extent, not to mention how much it will be produced. Just 2 mirror clones and 3 with the same strength will be so terrifying, no wonder it would take so much effort to get this fruit. This is only Lu Chengkong's preliminary guess. After all, he has only just acquired the ability of this fruit. He can only split a mirror image and still cannot move. I don't know if these mirror clones will have their own thoughts like the incarnations of mythical novels after this fruit is developed to the extreme. Lu Chengkong couldn't help but think of why, and at the same time determined that he would work hard to become stronger. Thought, the stronger the strength of his body, the more terrifying the ability of the mirror fruit. Try it first. Instead, Lu Chengkong never dreamed that he would come to the world of One Piece, king of pirates, let alone get a devil fruit and still get such a perverted fruit. Thinking of this, Lu Chengkong he couldn't wait to test it, and thought, mirror clone. Lu Chengkong only felt that his brain was suddenly a little heavy, and he didn't know when a person with a blank face appeared beside him, but both his body, appearance and temperament were exactly the same as Lu Chengkong. At the same time, Lu Chengkong only felt that his line of sight seemed to be divided. Second, it seems to have 2 bodies at the same time, but it is not contradictory at all. It is a pity that this avatar can't move even dong except for sharing the perspective, but even so, Lu Chengkong is very excited. Wait, I remember that the devil fruit's core is a bit strange, that woman's tone, isn't it? Just when Lu Chengkong was going to study his fruit ability, a picture suddenly appeared in his mind, and at the same time he thought of the woman the tone of speech at that time. This fruit was like a perfect fruit in her heart, and she saw that the core of the devil fruit she ate was different from that of Khalifa and Boa Sandersonia, so Lu Chengkong did not throw it on a whim. Dropped, saved. At this moment, an idea quietly appeared in his heart. As soon as this idea appeared, even Lu Chengkong, who had experienced many life and death battles, couldn't help his face full of ecstasy. The clothes made of toothed tiger skin took out a crystal-like fruit core from the pocket, and then let people get a big poke of seawater from the sea, which can definitely fill a bathtub. For safety's sake, Lu Chengkong immediately ran to the side. The room brought Khalifa, whose face was reddish and looked as beautiful as a hibiscus just after taking a bath. Khalifa, I'm going to do an experiment. If you see me sinking, you have to pull me up immediately. Lu Chengkong took a deep breath and poured the seawater onto the bathtub, then put the crystal-like fruit in his hand. Put the nucleus aside and sit in the seawater. Ah! Lu Chengkong exclaimed, he found that he could no longer control his body. It was obviously just a bathtub that was too shallow to dive in, but he found that the swimming that he had already learned was forcibly deprived, and his whole body was like ooze sunk down. Khalifa on one side saw that the situation was not right, and immediately stretched out his right hand to pull Lu Chengkong up before his body sank into the bathtub. But even so, the feeling of helplessness facing the sea just now, the sense of powerlessness still made Lu Chengkong feel helpless. With a look of horror on his face, in just a moment just now, there seemed to be countless voices in his own mind condemning him. He couldn't resist, or even thought of resisting, as if he would die at any time. What's wrong with you in the sky? You can only reach out and touch the sea water at most after eating the devil fruit. Your body must not touch the sea water too far, it will be abandoned by the sea. The power lost by the capable person is proportional to the amount of water it touches. How can you be so messy? Come, Khalifa said with a worried look, trying to reprimand Lu Chengkong but couldn't use a serious tone. What he said instead turned into a kind of doting. Of course I know this, try again, don't worry, this time I'm sure it will surprise you. Lu Chengkong immediately amused Khalifa by pretending to be a funny look you were waiting to see, and his originally bad mood also improved. At the same time, he couldn't help but look at Lu Chengkong with curious eyes to see how he surprised him. 19019 Honest and Relative. Instead of explaining, Lu Chengkong smiled confidently, but his heart was not sure. After all, he was also guessing that the woman pursued a fruit for so long. Even if she had the same powerful fruit, she would not eat it. She had to find the ideal in her heart. Fruit, and those two words, perfect, proves that she is a person who pursues perfection, and she absolutely does not allow herself to have any flaws. But this time she was accidentally destroyed by herself, so that the fruit that can be said to be perfect will definitely not be so simple. Lu Chengkong, who thought of this in his heart, immediately picked up the crystal fruit core beside him, and then put it in the sea again. The same feeling of being criticized by others came again, but at this time Lu Chengkong only feeling that his own spirit seems to have suddenly raised an invisible barrier to block all these condemnations. The feeling of powerlessness, Lu Chengkong found that he could stay in the sea without becoming a landlubber, but there is one disadvantage is that can't use ability, but for Lu Chengkong, this is already the biggest benefit. How could this be? Khalifa was shocked and stared at Lu Chengkong, who was swimming freely in the bathtub for a long time, unable to say a complete sentence. In the end, the only remaining reason made her shut her mouth immediately. Looking at the crystal fruit core in Lu Chengkong's hand, he immediately understood that it was all because of this thing. This is a secret treasure. It is countless times more precious than the Logia fruit. If anyone knew about it, Lu Chengkong would definitely be very dangerous. There is a fly in the ointment that I can't use the fruit ability. It should be the crystal core that seals the devil fruit in my body, so that the sea can't feel the existence of the devil fruit ability, so I can move freely, but I don't know when facing sea stone. I don't know if this is the case. As far as I know it will be so weak that it falls into the sea and can't swim and automatically control its ability to drown, but that's not the case with sea stone. Sea stone will make people weak but will not lose the fruit ability, and if you exercise for a long time with things like sea stone's handcuffs, you can completely overcome sea stone's weakness. Of course, all this is just my guess. Sea stone is only ore after all. Yes, the curse of devil fruits is nothing compared to the sea. After Lu Chengkong sorted out his thoughts, he said that he had seen the materials in the original book, and then slowly expressed his opinions through the experience he had just experienced. So I think sea stone is of great help to us. If we use sea stone to cultivate, the effect will definitely be greater, especially for those with Logia ability. Don't look at me like this, I'm talking about you, sister, I am also for you. Yes, and I also said that we will share weal and woe. Since my sister wants to train like this, of course I will accompany you. Quote. Lu Chengkong saw Khalifa put his eyes on his face, and quickly said the following words. I didn't want to admit it before, and I didn't dare to admit it, but I know that today I have to face it. My brother is a cowardly person, and he knows very little. A playboy boy. But over the past 2 years, your performance, your insights, your opinions, and your knowledge have all told me that you are not my brother, but I dare not think about it. I am worried that I will lose the motivation to live after knowing the truth. But today I know that I have to face it. You are right, to cultivate one is to be brave and diligent to fight all the shadows that affect your state of mind. Khalifa said in a very serious voice. Lu Chengkong on the side seemed to have expected this day to come early in the morning. His expression was very calm, without a trace of emotional fluctuations, but sat quietly in front of Khalifa like a listener. Listen to Khalifa. Thank you for your care, concern, and company for the past 2 years. I think without your presence, I may have gone crazy, or I may not have the motivation and courage to live, and even I will commit suicide, but you came to let me find it again. Lost joy, smile, thank you. Khalifa said while his eyes slowly turned red. 2 lines of clear tears flowed down slowly, his voice trembled a little, and in the end Khalifa couldn't help throwing himself down on Lu Chengkong. I burst into tears in my arms. Fool, don't cry, am I still here? I said that Lu Mang has become a dead person in the past tense since that day. My current name is Lu Chengkong, and I have a sister named Khalifa. The fact that it will never change. Lu Chengkong looked at the pitiful Khalifa, his heart suddenly filled with tenderness, and he couldn't help kissing Khalifa's tears. This intimacy immediately made Khalifa, who was still crying, blushed. Even the sobbing stopped. Coco, I found that I not only regarded you as my brother, but also regarded me as me. Khalifa is only an 8-year-old girl after all, although her body and mind are very mature. Her physical development is not enough a girl who is no less than 14 or 15 years old, and her psychological development is even more than an adult woman who is no less than 18 years old. But let her daughter say those things to the person in front of her who is a younger brother in her heart and who she likes. Shame words still can't be said. Take it as a lover, right? Lu Chengkong Vivi was stunned for a moment and then understood. Khalifa's unusual behavior recently has made him feel something unusual. Although he has never dated and procrastinated, he has seen many lovers walk together, and then separated. He has seen a lot of his roommates' pairings and breakups alone, so Khalifa's abnormal changes are only a few days before he understands it. You heard the words. Khalifa's conditioned reflex board raised his head. His watery and tearful eyes were full of surprise and puzzlement, obviously asking Lu Chengkong, how did you know? In the past 2 years, our lives have accumulated little by little, although there is no vigorous love, but little by little, it has turned into a small river, a long river, and finally turned into a lake and sea, a long stream of water, although I have never been in love. But I also know that in my heart this is the most perfect kind of love, not to mention that we have experienced many life and death separations, and we also know in the bottom of our hearts that the other party is not our own sister and brother, so emotional qualitative change and sublimation will happen sooner or later. I have discovered it before and prepared for it. Quote. Like a love expert, Lu Chengkong told Khalifa his solution and answered the questions in her heart. In the end, Lu Chengkong stretched out his hand and pulled her into his arms under Khalifa's wide eyes. She whispered something that made Khalifa cry with joy. Sometimes men just have to take the initiative. Although I am not a man now, I am a boy. From today onwards, I am not only your brother, but also the other half who will accompany you through the journey of life, a lover who will never leave, a man, it can be said to be my boyfriend and husband. Are you willing to walk with me? 2020 Relationship change. Woo, I'm willing. Khalifa sobbed in Lu Chengkong's arms and nodded his head forcefully, as if afraid that Lu Chengkong would go back on it. I want it. For a time, this pair of men and women, who are only 6 and 8 years old, but whose physical and mental ages are no less than adults, quietly embraced each other, enjoying this share on this unique admiralship. Uncomfortable warmth and affection. Admiral's warships are indeed worthy of the award-winning speed of warships. Although the Sabayati archipelago is very close to the marine headquarters, the general pirate ships or marine ships don't have a day's time. Don't think about it, but this marine ship it only took a little more than 3 hours to arrive. It really deserves to be the world government. Although the high-end combat power is not as much as the big pirates of the Great Channel on the surface, it can suppress the pirate forces. In terms of technology, marine, it is true that there are too many winning pirates. Of course, this is generally speaking, and the big pirates with fleets like Whitebeard are exceptions. After going ashore, the building of the majestic marine headquarters is the largest and most magnificent building that Lu Chengkong has seen since he came to this world. No prisoner has ever escaped from the marine headquarters, even the Golden Lion is no exception. There are definitely many hidden inside. Unknown power. Kuzan is worthy of being a marshal candidate. Immediately after disembarking, he had Lu Chengkong take him to the training place for CP9, but he himself ran back to Sengoku to report. After all, Lu Chengkong is not so the simplicity of it, of course, this is in his thoughts. In the eyes of Lu Chengkong and others, this is simply a very simple matter, and everything is very Lu Chengkong. With Kuzan's arrangement, these marines did not dare to embarrass Lu Chengkong and the two of them. They arranged dormitories for Lu Chengkong and Lu Chengkong with astonishing speed and efficiency. Under Lu Chengkong's strong request, the two lived in the same house. Don't think about it, the two of them are only 6 and 8 years old, no matter how mature they are, they can't overthrow the game. This is to have a good care, and they can discuss with each other when cultivating and studying devil fruits. Network. The next day, Lu Chengkong and Khalifa got up early. After eating a hearty breakfast, they were led by a rear admiral to a small island behind the marine headquarters. What surprised Lu Chengkong was the small island. The nearby sea area is full of huge vortexes one after another. It seems that the people who train in it don't even want to escape unless they are trained to come out alive. There are so many vortexes, and they are so huge. The powerful physique of a level powerhouse is simply impossible to swim in the sea, with the exception of those who know Moonstep. You two are new here. From today onwards, you two will receive the same training as them. I don't care what your identities are. When you come here, you are one of the students here. Go feed the sharks. A one-eyed dragon marine appeared in front of Lu Chengkong, and behind him also followed a group of children between the ages of 6 and 12. Maybe these were all newborns, and most of the children had a green look on their bodies. Not even a little murderous. Of course, there are a few exceptions, such as a few very familiar faces. Rob Lucci, wearing the same clothes as in the original book, but a smaller version, and the pigeon that is always with you. Kaku, looks like a wooden man, has a very charming smile and a cheerful personality, and has a kind heart, but Lu Chengkong, who knows about him, doesn't think so. With Lu Chengkong's scans, he found that many of them are members of the future CP9, Bluno, Otanashi Fukuro, but the two oldest in the original book, namely Jabra and Kumadori, no wonder Lucci is in the original book. When I saw Jabra and Kaku quarreling, it was obvious that they both favored Kaku. It turned out that one was acquainted after joining CP9 or later, while the other grew up to do tasks and practice together since childhood, as long as it is not anyone with mental problems knows what to do. Enlisted. The one-eyed dragon roared, in order to deter the newcomers, including some noble people such as Admiral's descendants. The one-eyed dragon even radiated his powerful murderous aura to cover Lu Chengkong and Khalifa. It's a pity that Lu Chengkong's life in the past 2 years has not been in vain. Although the murderous aura they cultivated in the face of countless ferocious beasts in the jungle life and battle is far less than that of the one-eyed dragon, they are very powerful in terms of psychological quality and will endurance. Especially after the mysterious girl's earth-shattering Haki baptism, both of them were Haki who completely ignored the one-eyed dragon and walked slowly into the queue at a leisurely pace. The unconventional performance of the two immediately attracted the attention of several of the powerhouses. For example, Rob Lucci, who was 5 years older than Lu Chengkong and was already very powerful, looked at Lu Chengkong and his eyes no longer with disdain but with an acknowledgement. After all, he could see at a glance that the two people in front of him were about the same age as Kaku. Of course, there was a gap in strength between him, who had been practicing for more than 5 years, but the strength of the two should not be underestimated. As expected, it was introduced by Admiral. He is completely immune to my murderous aura. Only Rob Lucci can do it here, but he can often do it under my murderous aura, but these two newcomers in front of me are only 6 years old. And the 8-year-old kid can actually do this. He is really a good seedling. One-Eyed Dragon's eyes flashed. His strength is stronger than Rob Lucci. He also knows more than him, and his views and vision are not comparable to Rob Lucci at this time. I am very satisfied with the performance of the two. Put on these 2 sets of clothes. The One-Eyed Dragon said loudly to Lu Chengkong and Khalifa immediately after nodding, pointing to the vest-like clothes that he put aside. Lu Chengkong found that everyone present was wearing them, but people like Rob Lucci, it's all worn inside and no one can see it. It's sad that this vest is really ugly enough. Hey, Lu Chengkong couldn't help but gasped as soon as he picked up the vest and put it on. It was so heavy, so heavy. For the past 2 years, Lu Chengkong was worried that weight-bearing training would affect his developing body. Inflicted damage, so he didn't do it, and this time was also the first time he used it. What shocked Lu Chengkong was that this piece of clothing was not simply a weight-bearing training for a certain part of his body. He found that the instant he put it on, the piece of clothing seemed to have turned into a gravity chamber and covered every part of Lu Chengkong's body, organs, even blood and cells, otherwise Lu Chengkong's power would never show such an expression. Follow me, if you can't keep up with the sea outside, you will be buried. The One-Eyed Dragon roared, not giving Lu Chengkong and Khalifa time to get used to it, and immediately took the lead and ran. The future shows will be exciting. Lu Chengkong and Khalifa didn't care either. Instead they looked at each other with a look that you know, and then took a step that was several times heavier than before and ran at the end of the team. Stand up. Naruto Bone Demon World has been finished, and the fattening brothers can start slaughtering. At the same time, please support the new book.